Chapter 466. The 10 corpse monsters released their source spirits. These source spirits were very special, they were all in the shape of ghosts and skeletons. There was wind, fire, water, darkness, and thunder, but most of them had different attributes. Some were good at long-range attacks and some were good at close combat. Ein's spirit's power was pushed to the peak and her source spirit was released. Chu Tian had seen many strange source spirits in his 2 lives. The young Miss Book source spirit, Meng Yingying's mirror source spirit, and the Dongfang family's armament source spirit, these were all considered rare source spirits. Other than these, Chu Tian had seen mountains and rivers as source spirits, forests as source spirits, suns and moons as source spirits, and even gods and demons like him as source spirits. It was reasonable to say that no matter how strange, Chu Tian was used to it. But when he saw Ein's spirit's source spirit, he was still stunned. The space with Ein's spirit as the center was filled with darkness, being corroded by a strong death aura. Tombstones were erected around it, forming a graveyard in a short period of time. It wasn't a real graveyard. It was an image formed from spirit energy. In other words, it was Ein's spirit's source spirit. This fellow's source spirit was in the shape of a graveyard. Chu Tian had never seen a graveyard as a source spirit before. There really were many strange things in this world. The 10 graves in Ein's spirit's graveyard source spirit had already been emptied. It was the 10 child source spirits from the graveyard source spirit that entered the Ein corpses, giving them the power of a source spirit. Each Ein corpse had some kind of connection with Ein's spirit. They had already become Ein's spirit's incarnations and could use cultivation techniques with source spirits. Everything Ein's spirit had learned, she had already poured it into the Ein corpses through her source spirit, allowing each Ein corpse to have several perfection realm cultivation techniques. This is the Ein spirit scripture, created by this one. Ein's spirit only cared about wildly laughing. The 10 corpse monsters spoke at the same time, speaking in place of Ein's spirit. What will your Ein corpses use to fight this one? We haven't even started fighting yet, don't be in a rush to talk big. Alright, then I'll let you understand why you lost. The 10 great corpse demons were surrounded by demonic energy as they soared into the sky. Countless ghosts continuously entered and exited their bodies. Finally, they all gathered in their hands and condensed into a huge black seal. Profound Ein palm print. The 18 divine servants didn't even have the chance to attack. 10 incomparably ferocious profound Ein palm prints swept over, and they simply had no power to resist. In an instant, they were sent flying like kites with their strings cut. When Meng Yingying saw this horrifying scene, she was so shocked that her jaw almost dropped. Oh my god, these corpse demons also know this kind of top-notch secret technique? Chen Bingyu said with a serious expression, Ein's spirit's cultivation has reached the perfection realm. In terms of attack strength and aura, a single corpse monster's attack power is close to that Vice Sect Master Endless Ein. Although these corpse monsters are all in the second true spirit layer, the corpse poison and strength of the corpse monsters are not weak. Adding on what Ein's spirit has learned in several perfection realm cultivation techniques, she might not lose to a third true spirit layer cultivator. Meng Yingying said in a voice of disbelief, how could there be such a powerful cultivation technique in this world? Actually, this cultivation technique is flawed because the corpse monsters don't have spirit energy and their power comes from Ein's spirit. Chen Bingyu said with a calm expression, this also means that Ein's spirit has released the 10 child source spirits in her main source spirit, so her source spirit has been crippled. Most of her spirit energy has been poured into the corpse monsters, which also means that Ein's spirit has become very weak. Although she still has the strength of a fourth true spirit layer cultivator, without the support of her source spirit, she can only be considered a normal fourth true spirit layer cultivator. Meng Yingying said with an emotional sigh, although she has weakened herself, she still has the ability to protect herself. No matter what, she is still very, very strong. Ha, ha, ha. Ein's spirit was as excited as a child that had received a lollipop. Defeated, they've all been defeated. Your Ein corpses can't even take a single blow. An interesting source spirit, an interesting cultivation technique, truly a talent. Chu Tian rubbed his chin as he looked at Yin's spirit. I've found that I like you a bit, you should just come with me. Yin's spirit was filled with disgust. Scram. You've already lost. She swallowed her words before she could finish because the divine servants that had been knocked down were now standing up one by one. Moreover, they didn't seem to be injured at all. Even if they were hit by such a strong profound large palm, there wasn't a single scratch on their skin. Their dark golden skin was like polished copper, giving people a mysterious feeling of being invulnerable. Your corpses seem a bit strange. What will shock you is yet to come. Yin's spirit gave a snort. Wasn't it just a bit sturdy? She didn't believe there were corpses she couldn't break, so she controlled the corpse monsters and used the Black Moon sect's secret techniques. Profound large palm seal. Destruction cross swords. Extreme demonic shadow slash. The 10 corpse monsters fully displayed their strength. Basically anything Yin's spirit knew, the 10 corpse monsters knew. With their perfection realm cultivation techniques and various secret techniques and martial arts, their attacks were like a violent storm. The divine servants were sent flying again and again, smashing into the ground, only to stand up again and again. Chu Tian seemed like he was deliberately not fighting back. His hands were crossed in front of his chest like he was watching a play. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, as time went by, Yin's spirit's mood went from shock to amazement, and finally to despair. No matter how strong the attack was, even if the divine servants were smashed, it was useless. They could recover in a short period of time. The consumption was increasing. She couldn't even kill a single divine servant. Why was it like this? Could it be that these corpses had undying bodies? Chu Tian saw Yin's spirit say with a smile, I was hoping that the sect master would come up with something new, but I never thought that you would be at your wits' end this quickly. Your corpses don't seem like much. Yin's spirit's pale little face instantly turned dark. The 10 corpse monsters were Yin's spirit's pride, but in Chu Tian's eyes, they were like a joke. This was simply trampling on her dignity, how could she not be angry? Chu Tian became even more aggressive as he said, actually this kind of bet is very unfair to you, after all, your strength is not on the same level. If this is spread, others will say that I'm bullying a little girl. I suggest we change the method. Have your corpses stand together and as long as they can block a single attack from a divine servant, I'll lose this bet. Going too far. Going too far. Yin's spirit flew into a rage. Chu Tian shrugged his shoulders, this is just a small suggestion out of goodwill. If you really don't accept it, then I have no choice but to keep fighting like this. Yin's spirit's teeth almost shattered from gritting. The 10 corpse monsters couldn't do anything to the 18 divine servants at all. The corpse monsters had already lost over half their strength and if they continued to be consumed, they wouldn't be able to fight anymore. Alright, since you dare be this arrogant, then let me see just what kind of arrogance you have. The 10 corpse monsters formed a triangular formation. They transmitted their strength to each other, instantly forming a black barrier. Each corpse had a layer of black armor on their bodies, releasing 2 layers of defense at the same time. Yin's spirit said in a cold voice, this is a double layer of defense formed by the heavenly demon barrier and the heavenly demon armor, let's see how you break it. A divine attendant walked out, her power slowly spreading out of her body. Runes appeared on the surface of her dark golden skin, and a hazy halo gradually enveloped her body. From weak to bright, it quickly returned, like a snow-white cocoon wrapping the divine attendant's body tightly. Yin's spirit could clearly feel the energy released from the divine servant's body. Although it wasn't strong, it gave people a feeling of a god descending from the heavens. The divine servant's aura quickly accumulated during this process, just like countless rivers gathering together to form an ocean. The divine servant suddenly cut her arm and dark golden blood flowed out of her skin. Yin's spirit had attacked the divine servant for a long time, but the divine servant had not shed a single drop of blood from beginning to end. It was like this monster did not have any blood at all and the dark golden blood flowed down her arm, finally covering it like a layer of wax. Prepare yourself. My attack is coming. With Chu Tian's kind reminder, the divine servant's power was released and her aura was condensed to the peak. She was like a cannonball as she charged in front of the 10 Yin corpses. The light around her body shined brightly as she suddenly raised her right arm and slammed it into the black barrier. The divine servant's white light flowed into her right arm, and when it was released from her fist, the white light was mixed with large amounts of dark golden light. This attack was not considered strong, not even reaching the third true spirit layer. In terms of energy, it was impossible for it to break the barrier. However, the result of a drop of water falling on the rain cloth and a drop of magma falling on the rain was completely different. The power of the divine servants was mixed with divine power, and now, with the support of the god's blood that could break through any curse or darkness, the black barrier did not have the slightest bit of resistance, and was almost completely shattered in an instant. The protective cultivation techniques around the corpse monsters all collapsed. It was like the 10 corpse monsters had been washed by magma. Smoke came out of their 7 orifices and their bodies were burnt black as they fell to the ground one by one. At this time, the divine servant released all the energy in her body and she also fell to the ground. Everyone was stunned. The 10 corpse monsters that the Black Moon sect was proud of. They had been defeated by a single punch from a divine servant. Yin Spirit couldn't accept this reality no matter what. After being stunned for several minutes, she suddenly screamed, "No, my corpse monsters, you bastard, do you know how long I used to refine them? Destroyed, you destroyed them all. I'll kill you, I'll definitely kill you." Yin Spirit was like an angry gambler. She was like a child whose last toy had been stolen. In short, the bet had already been thrown to the back of her mind. Even if she had to kill all the hostages, Yin Spirit would kill this damn fellow. This bastard had destroyed all her years of hard work. Why is the sect master so angry? Your corpse monsters have not been destroyed, they can still be used after being repaired. Chu Tian ignored Yin Spirit's killing intent and anger as he said with a face that was asking for a beating, "But after seeing the might of the divine servant, can you still look at these normal things?" Yin Spirit was suddenly silent as her face was filled with defeat and depression. She looked at the divine servant with a look of incomparable envy. Comparing her carefully refined corpse monsters to these divine servants, it was like comparing a dung pit stone to a top-quality gem. Chu Tian said in a bewitching voice, "These divine servants are my work and I have some leftover materials, so I can turn your Yin corpses into divine servants." Really? Yin Spirit revealed a happy expression, as if she had forgotten her hatred towards Chu Tian. However, she immediately became vigilant. "Don't think that you can buy the entire Black Moon sect like this. Little sister, this isn't right. I, Chu Tian, never liked taking advantage of people, especially a minor like you." Chu Tian shook his head. "Cooperation, it is cooperation. The Black Moon sect and Miracle Commerce will cooperate, we will definitely achieve a win-win situation. You're not allowed to call me little sister. This one is older than you." Yin Spirit thought of something. "Wait, you said you're Chu Tian. Miracle Commerce is Chu Tian. Sect Master has heard of this one's little name, it truly is an honor. Can we have a proper talk? Since we're talking about cooperation, you should at least show a bit of sincerity." Chu Tian released endless Yin and waved his hand at Chen Bingyu. Chen Bingyu understood and immediately released the seal, freeing the Black Moon sect elders and protectors from their frozen state. He released the hostages like this? He was just too bold. The Black Moon sect disciples saw this and immediately surrounded the 3 of them. "You can all leave." Yin Spirit called out, stopping the sect disciples. She looked at Chu Tian. "Good courage, you really are someone. Let's go in and talk." Chapter 467. Chu Tian was smiling as he sat at the table with one leg crossed over the other. The little fox was lazily lying on his shoulder yawning, with Chen Bingyu on his left and Meng Yingying on his right, with the 18 divine servants standing behind him. If people didn't know the situation, they would think that Chu Tian was a rich family's young master, holding beauties on his left and right, participating in a tea party with bodyguards. In contrast, there were several dozen angry Black Moon sect elders, protectors, vice sect master Endless Een, and the others. These people were all famous people in the Great Zhou country. Even a casual stomp of their feet could shake the Great Zhou country, but they could only stare at Chu Tian, unable to do anything. Sect Master, why do we have to negotiate with this bastard? This fellow has caused the Black Moon sect to lose face. If today's matter were to be spread, our 2,000 years of reputation will be lost. Where will the Heavenly Een Mountain's 10,000 years of prestige go? Kill him. The Black Moon sect's people angrily shouted. The actions of Chu Tian's group were hard to forgive. This matter would not only affect their personal reputation, it would also shame the Heavenly Een Mountain, one of Great Zhou's famous mountains. Would the 1,000 years of accumulation be destroyed in the hands of a little brat? Een Spirit's little body was around 10 years old, adding in her red robe that didn't have a single wrinkle, it made her look like a little doll. Where did she have the aura of a sect master at all? But she was sitting in the middle of the old men, giving people a very strange feeling. No matter how angry the elders and vice sect master were, her expression didn't change at all. Her large black eyes curiously looked at Chu Tian. She didn't understand why Chu Tian was so fearless without a hostage in his hands. Een Spirit had a cultivation in the fourth true spirit layer and several dozen powerful elders and protectors, as well as tens of thousands of elite cultivators. If she wanted to kill a few people, she wouldn't be able to escape no matter what. Whether it was the cool and indifferent Qin Bingyu, the young and immature Meng Yingying, or the mysterious Chu Tian, the three of them had never shown any signs of worry. This meant that they definitely had something to rely on. But what was it that they were relying on? Hey, little sister sect master, can you make these fellows who are barking like dogs shut up? Chu Tian changed to a more comfortable position and leaned against the chair. What we are going to talk about is related to the fate of the mysterious dark sect. Why are you making such a fuss? I'll say it again, don't call me little girl. Een Spirit seemed like she hated this title. Her little hand slapped the stone table and the entire hall trembled. Your actions have already caused serious damage to the Heavenly Een Mountain. I'm not considering any cooperation right now, rather I'm considering how to deal with the three of you. The cooperation between the Black Moon sect and Miracle Commerce is beneficial. As for damaging the reputation of the Heavenly Een Mountain, I'm very sorry, this was not my original intention. But speaking of this, a bit of loss is better than being destroyed. Chu Tian's words were no different from a naked threat. The era of the Great Zhou country's 6 famous mountains is about to come to an end. The Great Zhou country will soon have a storm that will reshuffle the cards. It doesn't matter if you want to see it or not, but it will happen. Anyone that tries to stop the wheel of fate will be ruthlessly crushed to pieces. Too arrogant. Endless Een angrily roared, you want to topple the 6 famous mountains with just you? That's right, just me. Chu Tian was not polite at all. Actually, even if I don't interfere, once the Northern Eagle Burial Kingdom attacks, there won't be a single egg left intact. The Great Zhou country can't do anything alone. Even if we close our sect and hide from the world, without resources from the secular world, how can the 6 famous mountains develop? Not to mention the Eagle Burial Kingdom has as many experts as clouds. It's a problem if your mountain protecting array can block them. Not to mention establishing your sect, you might not even be able to protect your old ancestors' grave. The elders were so angry that they were about to explode. This kind of arrogant attitude and this kind of taunting tone, how could these fellows tolerate this? Een Spirit's little hand came out of her sleeve and placed it on the table. There was a flash of cold light in her eyes. I know that President Chu is very interesting and I know that Miracle Commerce has some new toys, but you have to understand that there are many things in this world that can't be bought with just a few source stones. This Chu believes that there is nothing that can't be discussed in this world. If a few source stones can't be bought, then what about several dozen, several hundred, several tens of thousands, several 100 million, several 100 billion, or even several trillion? Chu Tian revealed a very enticing smile. If you can give enough benefits, how hard would it be to buy the entire Black Moon sect? Ean's spirit revealed two cute little canines as she revealed a smile. This one will listen to what price President Chu can offer. Within half a year, the Black Moon sect will become the #1 sect in the Great Zhou country. Whether it is a normal sect or a small sect, or the 6 famous mountains, the entire Great Zhou country will have to listen to the heavenly Yin mountain. Everyone's eyes popped out. Didn't this fellow know the weight of these words? The 6 famous mountains had been fighting for over 1,000 years. Even if a sect could stand out for a while, their glory would only last 100 years. This was because once a famous mountain surpassed the other mountains by too much, the 5 famous mountains would work together to keep them in check. There had never been a sect that could suppress the other 5 mountains by themselves. Wasn't doing it in half a year nonsense? Chu Tian did not finish as he stretched out 3 fingers. Within 3 years, the Black Moon sect will cover the surrounding large and small countries. The Black Moon sect will become the strongest sect in this territory and the richest sect. This was even more nonsense. Ean's spirit giggled. President Chu really knows how to joke. With your miracle commerce's little ability, you actually dare to boast like this. This is just too funny. Little sister, the sect master thinking this means that you don't understand miracle commerce. Damn. Ean's spirit was filled with anger as she slapped off a piece of the stone table. I already said not to call me little sister. Chu Tian did not care about Ean's spirit's anger at all. Look at the 18 divine servants behind me. Do you still think miracle commerce is a normal company? Humph, I admit that the divine servants aren't bad, but so what? Ean's spirit's eyes were filled with a strong desire when she looked at the divine servants. If her Ean spirit scripture, combined with these divine servants, just how strong would they be? You still can't prove your abilities, right? Could it be that just because of a word from you, the entire Black Moon sect will support you? You really think too highly of yourselves. What you say is reasonable. Chu Tian's eyes turned. Does your sect have spatial crystals? Spatial crystals are very precious, but the heavenly Yin mountain has been around for tens of thousands of years, so naturally we have some. Why are you asking this? That's great. Chu Tian said, I'll immediately help you transform 10 Yin corpses and you can use the spatial crystals to pay for this. I think this business will not be a loss for you. You can turn my Yin corpses into divine servants. This won't do. I don't have a lot of materials left. However, although I can't completely transform them into divine servants, they're not far from it. They'll have recovery abilities close to that of divine servants and around 50% of divine servants' divine power. These undead puppets are called death servants. Ean's spirit knew that she couldn't be as strong as the divine servants, so she was a bit dissatisfied. However, hearing that she could have the strong recovery power of the divine servants, this was a large temptation to her. At least if she used spatial crystals to exchange for it, she wouldn't suffer a loss. Spatial crystals were rare, but what could they be used for? It was nothing more than creating some storage tools. Even if the death servants weren't as strong as the divine servants, they were still very strong and hard to deal with puppets. These monsters that couldn't even be killed had decent strength, and with Ean's spirit's unique cultivation technique, they would all become incarnations, possessing terrifying strength. This was enough to increase the Black Moon sect's strength by a large amount. The most important thing was that the death servants were undead monsters. This kind of monster wouldn't die of old age and could be passed down as a treasure of the Black Moon sect. What do you want the spatial crystals for? I'm planning on building a transport tower for the Black Moon sect. Once this transport tower is built in the Black Moon sect, the Black Moon sect will undergo earth-shattering changes. Chu Tian said this before adding, however, what you need to pay attention to is that this transport tower isn't a free gift. Whether you agree to cooperate with Miracle Commerce or not, this transport tower will be an additional condition. The Black Moon sect can choose whether or not to keep the transport tower. If we keep it, then it will be the same as Miracle Commerce buying shares. A third of the Black Moon sect will belong to Miracle Commerce, and as for little sister sect master, you will be an employee of Miracle Commerce from now on. The expressions of the others fell. Bold. This person has wild ambitions, he actually wants to swallow the Black Moon sect. They had never heard of a sect being able to buy shares, this was simply nonsense. Ian's spirit gritted her teeth, this one is the respected Black Moon sect's master, you dare let this one run to the company as an employee? Don't speak so early. Chu Tian revealed a mysterious smile, it doesn't matter if you accept it or not, the choice is in your hands. If you choose not to keep the transport tower, I can't force you, I can only dismantle it and recycle the materials. As for you, you can at least obtain 10 death servants. No matter how you look at this, the Black Moon sect will not suffer a loss. Ian's spirit carefully considered it. She didn't know what the transport tower was, but she didn't think there would be any danger. Since she was watching from the side, there shouldn't be any problems. Alright. Ian's spirit made her decision, I agree. You can make that transport tower for me, I want to see what you're planning. The Black Moon sect took out all the spatial crystals they had stored in their sect. Chu Tian counted them and found that they had enough for one transport tower, so he collected them all and had Meng Yingying build the transport tower. Chu Tian took the rest of the divine blood to help Ian's spirit transform her precious Ian corpses. The transport tower would take several days to build. But it didn't matter, Chu Tian was not in a rush. Chapter 468. Other than refining Ian's spirit's death servants, Chu Tian did not stay idle. He swallowed pills every day to increase his cultivation base. Now miracle commerce was in the center of the forest of chaos and there was a bustling Oldman small town market. All kinds of resources were flowing into miracle commerce, so Chu Tian and his group were the happiest cultivators. Taking out a bottle of pills from their pockets was enough to make normal rogue cultivators fight over them. The pills Meng Yingying ate every week was equivalent to several years of savings for a normal rogue cultivator. Under these conditions, even if one's talent was mediocre, they could still become a peak expert. Of course, the pills they bought were mainly normal sacred herbs. These sacred herbs could be refined into pills that could increase one's cultivation base, but they still needed to slowly grow and accumulate. Heaven and earth treasures that could allow a person to instantly break through 1 or 2 layers were hard to buy even with Miracle Commerce's current wealth and channels. This kind of thing required a certain amount of luck. After Chu Tian fought the Lich and swallowed the Star Marrow pill, as well as a period of cultivation, his cultivation base should have stabilized at the peak first true spirit layer. On this day, he suddenly felt that an opportunity had matured. The chance to increase his cultivation base was here. Chu Tian didn't want to waste this state, so he immediately found a closed-door elder cave in the Black Moon sect. The heavenly Yin mountain was one of the great Zhou country's 6 spiritual mountains. This paradise was filled with spiritual energy and was suitable for cultivation. However, Chu Tian didn't rely on the spiritual energy in the spiritual vein to increase his cultivation base, so he directly took out an eye of the star. The starlight immortal body began to circulate. Chu Tian felt an incomparably pure power of the stars seeping into his body along with the circulation of his cultivation technique. Chu Tian couldn't help but be covered in a layer of starlight. From weak to strong, from bright to dark, the intensity of the starlight became higher and higher. His entire body was covered in light from inside out, basically turning into a man of light. The eye of the star in his hand became smaller and smaller. This eye of the star's volume was directly converted into astral energy, enough to maintain the transport tower's operation for 10 years. Now that it was all absorbed into Chu Tian's body, it was constantly attacking every cell in his body, causing every part of his body to undergo a transformation. The color of the dazzling white light suddenly changed and actually disappeared in the air, transforming into a wave that was released. Boom! A loud sound came from the top of the heavenly Yin mountain. Yin's spirit floated in front of a large barrel, happily looking at the 10 death servants being transformed by the divine blood. She was shocked by the large explosion. Could it be that someone was attacking the mountain? Yin's spirit quickly flew out, floating 50 meters in the air. When she looked from afar, she saw a large mass of starlight explode in the sky, instantly blooming into the horizon. A resplendent sea of stars unfolded like a beautiful painting. Such a bizarre scene attracted countless onlookers. Everyone in the Black Moon sect was very curious and shocked. They didn't know what was going on. Ian's spirit's little body floated in the air, just like a little doll wearing a red dress. She could feel the attribute of this power. Wasn't it the defensive cultivation technique that these people cultivated? This kind of defensive strength was not inferior to any perfection realm cultivation technique that Ian's spirit knew. Could it be that this cultivation technique could become even stronger? What kind of powerful cultivation technique was this? Ian's spirit couldn't help thinking that if she could learn this cultivation technique, wouldn't she be able to use the Ian spirit scripture to give the Death Servants this kind of defensive strength? The Death Servant's strength would definitely increase another step. Heavenly Ian Mountain. On a quiet hillside, Chen Bingyu was sitting alone in a daze. In the past year, Chen Bingyu often felt that her family's bloodline was slowly recovering. In the battle a few days ago, she had finally awakened her family's bloodline, which could be considered her biggest harvest recently. After her bloodline was awakened, not only would Chen Bingyu's cultivation soar in a short period of time, the most important thing was that she could use the secret techniques and powers sealed in her bloodline, so her battle strength would not be the same as before. Her originally pitch-black long hair had turned into an icy blue color. It was a kind of blue that was tinged with white, and it also looked like it was half pulled by silver threads. It was like a piece of ice that had been frozen for millions of years. Her body was constantly surrounded by cold air and cold currents. It made her aura even colder, but it also added a bit of otherworldly beauty. This was the sign of the Great Zhou royal bloodline being awakened. Great Zhou royal family, Great Zhou princess, after living for so many years, she had almost forgotten that she had this kind of identity. When she escaped from the Great Zhou country in the past, she was only 17 or 18 years old. She thought that she would find a place where no one knew about her past and study martial arts until she died of old age. She never thought that after 18 years, she would come back like this. "Hey, big sister Bing, why are you watching the sunset by yourself?" A voice came from behind her. If it wasn't Chu Tian, who else could it be? Chen Bingyu turned around and immediately found that Chu Tian was a bit different. His body was covered in a faint glow that couldn't be seen with the naked eye. Only Chen Bingyu, who cultivated the starlight immortal body, could feel it. "So the commotion just now was caused by you. It seems like your cultivation technique has broken through." Chen Bingyu stared at Chu Tian for a few seconds before saying, "Your cultivation seems to have broken through as well. When did this woman's insight become this strong?" That's right. The starlight immortal body had reached the perfection realm and his cultivation had reached the second true spirit layer. There was no earth spirit cultivator that could be his match anymore. "Can I sit?" Chen Bingyu angrily said to this fellow, taking off his pants and farting. "Can I say no?" Chu Tian sat down on the side without any politeness. He began to chatter as soon as he sat down. "Big sister Bing, you're not honest. Why didn't you tell us about your past before? If we knew about this kind of hatred, we would have come to the Great Zhou country a long time ago. But it's not too late now, it's not a problem with our methods and abilities." Chen Bingyu knit her brows. Chu Tian asked, "What, is there something wrong with it?" Chen Bingyu's indifferent face revealed a trace of confusion. "Perhaps you don't know, but our family's bloodline is very special. Although it can bring strength, it has a large influence on a person's thoughts." Chu Tian didn't find it strange. Sometimes cultivation techniques could affect one's thoughts, not to mention things like bloodlines. Then what kind of influence would it have? Indifferent emotions, especially indifferent to friendly emotions. Family, friendship, love. Our family is like this. Chen Bingyu lowered her head and gave a faint sigh. "If I had a deep hatred when I just escaped the Great Zhou country, it has already faded over the years. I can't remember the feelings my parents and brother brought. Revenge? Although I have this obsession, I don't have the motivation to carry it out. This is also the reason why I never want to talk about these things. Moreover, I never thought that miracle commerce would become like this in such a short period of time." Chu Tian finally understood. Chen Bingyu had the coldest personality out of everyone. She didn't seem to be interested in anything and she didn't like interacting with people. Other than studying martial arts and cultivation techniques, she didn't have any other hobbies. Chu Tian thought it was because of Chen Bingyu's nature or because of her previous experiences, but he never thought that it would be inherited from her family. Actually, you don't need to worry about this. Chu Tian had a strange thought, if you're by my side, is there a large chance of being cured? Chen Bingyu was a bit stunned. Cured? Chu Tian revealed a bad smile, look at me, I'm so handsome, talented, and charming. You'll find that you'll unknowingly fall in love with me, wouldn't that be fine? Scram! Chen Bingyu waved her hand and the surrounding several feet were frozen. Chu Tian quickly jumped away, damn, I was just joking. It's fine if you can't feel love, but your reaction to anger is too sensitive. Who told you that I can't feel love? Chen Bingyu didn't know if it was because of anger or something else, but her snow-white face was slightly red, slow, just a little slow, do you understand? Chu Tian revealed a vigilant expression, like a rabbit being stared at by a grandmother wolf, you're saying that there's still a chance that you might fall in love with me? I'm warning you, I already have a girlfriend. Chen Bingyu saw his cheap and bad look and immediately felt a nameless anger in her heart, go to hell. In a few minutes, the entire hillside was covered with icicles. Chu Tian was chased around the mountain by this fierce woman and was in a sorry state. Just when the situation wasn't good, Meng Yingying contacted him through the communicator. It turned out that the transport tower had been built. Chen Bingyu returned to her usual cold look, go find your little lover. Chu Tian laughed, Sister Bing, you're actually quite cute whether you're angry or happy, so don't keep a straight face all day. Smile more when you're free. How can I smile when I see you every day? These words made Chu Tian choke quite a bit. This woman's mouth was quite poisonous, then be angry more, you're quite beautiful when you're angry. Chu Tian ran away after saying this, afraid of being attacked by the other side. Chen Bingyu looked at Chu Tian's back as he left and her eyes slightly sparkled. She gave a soft sigh and was a bit worried and helpless, immediately following him. After several days of hard work, Meng Yingying finally finished building the transport tower. The Black Moon sect's master Yin spirit appeared with the elders surrounding her. She looked at the transport tower a few times and revealed a suspicious expression, this is what you want to build. What use does it have? Chu Tian inserted the eye of the star and the entire transport tower was activated. He turned around to look at Yin's spirit and said, cooperation cannot be without inspection. I want to invite Sect Master to Miracle Commerce's headquarters to take a look. You want this one to go to the Great Summer Country? Wrong. Meng Yingying cut in and said with a face filled with pride, our headquarters is in Miracle City, not the Great Summer Country. Miracle City is a city in the center of the Forest of Chaos. There wasn't a mistake. Forest of Chaos. The Black Moon sect's people were stunned. Miracle Commerce was in the Forest of Chaos, how was that possible? The center of the Forest of Chaos was over 100,000 miles away, how long would it take to make a round trip? Not to mention that the Forest of Chaos was very dangerous, even a spirit transformation cultivator couldn't guarantee a safe trip. Chu Tian patted the transport tower beside him, Sect Master doesn't need to worry, Miracle City also has transport towers. With 2 transport towers, no matter how far it is, we can instantly arrive. It is as convenient as going to the toilet. These words shocked everyone. Yin's spirit's large black eyes revealed a look of shock, could it be? This is the function of the transport tower. It's more than that. Chu Tian took out a scroll made from a fragment of the Eye of the Star, this is a transfer scroll that I personally made. During the process of making it, I set the coordinates of the transfer location. With this scroll in hand, no matter where we go, we can instantly return to the city, so this thing is called a city return scroll. Little Sister Sect Master, do you know the value of the transport tower now? Chapter 469. A large doubt in the hearts of the Black Moon sect's people was resolved. The reason they could cause such a ruckus in the Black Moon sect was because these 3 fellows had instant city return scrolls on them. If they met a bad situation, they could instantly escape. No matter how strong the heavenly Een Mountain's array was, it was useless. There was no such thing as a space ceiling restriction on the continent. Unless the three of them couldn't activate the scrolls in time to kill them. The three of them were not weak, so it was not a problem for them to escape unscathed. It was because they had this confidence that they were fearless. Little Sister Sect Master, do you understand the value of this transport tower? Chu Tian calmly said, in the process of miracle commerce's expansion, the transport tower will eventually appear in every corner of every country. At this stage, having a teleportation tower early can bring benefits that you can't even imagine. Even if we ignore the large benefits of the transport tower, you can use your sect's transport tower as a set of transport scrolls, which is equal to having an extra life. No matter where you go to adventure, you will have enough protection. The Black Moon sect's people were stunned speechless. How on earth was such a heaven-defying thing made? Een's spirit quickly weighed it in her heart. Was it worth exchanging a part of the Black Moon sect for the transport tower? There was no answer to this question, so she could only go to the Miracle Commerce headquarters to take a look. That's what you said, who knows if the transport tower is really that useful. Facts speak louder than words. Little Sister Sect Master, please. This one will warn you one last time, you're not allowed to call me Little Sister. Alright, Little Sister. Een's spirit angrily waved her sleeve as she walked into the transport tower. Chu Tian called Yingying and Chen Bingyu over. The transport tower lit up and the spatial energy covered the surroundings. The spatial energy began to tremble. Was this thing really that magical? From here to the Forest of Chaos was several tens of thousands of kilometers. If the Miracle Commerce headquarters was in the center of the Forest of Chaos, it would be 5-6 times the distance. Even if Een's spirit rode a high-level demon beast mount with her cultivation, it would take her 5-8 days of traveling through wind and rain. How could they travel this far in one go? There wouldn't be any danger during the transport, right? When Een's spirit's mind was filled with random thoughts, her shoulder was suddenly patted by someone, Little Sister Sect Master. Little Sister, little your head. When Een's spirit was about to explode. We're here. Ah. Een's spirit was stunned. The distortion in the surrounding space returned to normal, and the teleportation light dissipated. This was a completely unfamiliar environment and scenery. The surroundings were flat grasslands, and in the distance were mountains. Countless strangely shaped and exquisite castles were situated between the mountains and mountains, making this place look like a fairy tale world. This is, Meng Yingying saw the shocked expression on this little sect master's face. She immediately giggled and said, "Don't ask a question you already know the answer to." Miracle Commerce's headquarters, Miracle City. Was this the Miracle City? Miracle City's transport tower was not far from the city lord's castle. Before Meng Yingying sent the transport tower, she had already contacted her elder sister. Meng Qinggu brought Vivian, Nangong Yun, and the others to welcome them. "Welcome back, boss, I missed you all to death." Nangong Yun was still very carefree, giving a warm greeting as soon as she came up. "Oh, that's right, welcome Little Sect Master to Miracle City. I am Nangong Yun, Boss Confidant." This fellow only knew how to make connections. When did she become father's confidant? Yingying, big brother. This Vivian teleported over first, immediately grabbing Chu Tian and Yingying's hands. Was it fun outside? Teleportation. Innate spatial energy. Een's spirit looked at Vivian and immediately knit her brows. This elven girl's cultivation was not weaker than hers, it was even a bit stronger. Miracle Commerce actually had this kind of expert. Meng Yingying excitedly said, "Of course, Chu Tian brought me to play on the prairies. There was no end to the grass and the sunset was very beautiful. We're done playing, so we'll head to the Great Zhou country. I'm so envious." Vivian revealed a pitiful look. She was one of Miracle City's vice city lords, her position was on the same level as Meng Qinggu. Now that Chu Tian wasn't here and Meng Qinggu was very busy, there were many things in Miracle City that needed her to handle. How could Vivian do this kind of thing? Remember to bring me next time, I'm bored to death in the forest of chaos. Aunt Bing, your hair. Nangong Yun made a fuss out of nothing, why did it turn white? Chen Bingyu glared at her, didn't I tell you in the communication device? Nangong Yun revealed an embarrassed smile, I'm still very surprised, but you seem to have become more beautiful and younger. It seems like I can't call you Aunt Bing in the future, I'll call you elder sister like Boss and the others. No one treated Chen Bingyu as an elder, only Nangong Yun's situation was a bit special. Chen Bingyu came to Imperial City several years ago and Nangong Yun met the 20-year-old Chen Bingyu when she was 4 or 5 years old. She naturally had the habit of calling her this, so she couldn't change it. Up to you. Alright, the guest is here, you can talk about this later. Meng Qinggu walked over at this time. She arrived in front of Yin's spirit who hadn't recovered yet and cupped her hands in a very appropriate manner. Hello Sect Master Yin, I am Miracle Commerce's Vice Chairman, Miracle City's Vice City Lord Meng Qinggu. Chu Tian has offended you in the heavenly Yin Mountains, so I apologize for him. We have prepared a reception in the City Lord's castle, so please come with us Sect Master. Yin's spirit's soul seemed to have left her body. After being stunned for a while, she said, does it only take an instant to return to the Black Moon sect from here? Is little sister Sect Master afraid of not being able to return? Chu Tian gave Ying a look with a smile, since it's like this, why don't you take her for a spin first? Understood. Elder sister, give me half a minute. We'll go quickly and return. Meng Ying pulled Yin's spirit's hand and patted the transport tower, Sect Master, let's go. Yin's spirit could not react in time. The teleportation light suddenly brightened. When everything calmed down again, she found that she had appeared in a magnificent hall. She was surrounded by barbarian guards. Ah, isn't this Sir Meng Ying? A barbarian berserker captain quickly bowed, you came to the great summer country for official business? No, I was just casually looking around, there's no need to be so polite. Meng Ying said to Yin's spirit, this is the great summer country, we're returning to the heavenly Yin Mountains now. Great summer country. Yin's spirit's mind didn't even have time to think. There was a flash of light. Why did Sect Master come back? Sect Master, your expression doesn't seem right. What happened? What did you do to our Sect Master? Meng Ying revealed 2 cute dimples as she revealed a smile, Sect Master, do you want to try again? Yin's spirit was already completely convinced, no need, let's go back to Miracle City. The Black Moon sect's people didn't understand what was going on before the two of them disappeared from the transport tower. In just a breath's time, the thousands of mountains and rivers disappeared and they were transported to Miracle City once again. When everyone saw Yin's spirit's expression, they knew that this fellow was completely convinced. Meng Qinggu said, Sect Master Yin must have seen Miracle Commerce's spatial transport technology. Actually the spatial transport technology is just one of the many miracles Miracle Commerce has, you have enough time to inspect Miracle City. That's right, little sister Sect Master. Nangong Yun said with a laugh, staying here for a few days will definitely change your view of the world. You'll find how boring the world you lived in before was. Everyone returned to the City Lord's castle. Chu Tian had left Miracle City for around half a month and Miracle City had changed a lot, at least it looked very orderly. Meng Qinggu had a separate area in the castle and this was the control center of the city. The first place they visited was here. This was because Miracle Commerce's first intelligent source energy matrix was placed here. Yin's spirit was surprised to find that there wasn't a single pillar here. It was around 100 meters long and 50 meters wide, with several giant black boxes in the center. There was a spiritual body floating in the center of these black boxes and there were over 103-meter-tall mirrors around it. Each mirror showed a different image, some were forests, some were castles, and in short, they were all inside Miracle City. Zero respectfully greeted everyone when he saw them. Miracle City Manager Zero greets the City Lord and Vice City Lord. Is there anything you need me to do? Zero had intelligence and no emotions, this was all simulated by Meng Qinggu. Ian's spirit was very curious, a spiritual life form with intelligence? How did you make it? Zero replied in a cold voice, this question involves a top secret of miracle commerce. Your Excellency does not have the authority, so I cannot answer it for you. Ian's spirit revealed a strange expression. Why does this intelligent spiritual body look so strange? Chu Tian could see a few things about the central control room, but he wasn't sure, so he directly asked, what is going on here? Sir Vice City Lord has set up over 200 fixed monitoring points around Miracle City, 100 mobile patrol points, and the Heaven's Eye airships monitoring points for the various large areas. The images and data will all be sent here for me to control and analyze, allowing me to control the changes in the city. How is this possible? Ian's spirit was very curious about the image transmission ability on one hand, but she had seen the use of the transport tower, so this wasn't enough to scare her. Only she was very suspicious of Zero's words. Even if this spiritual body has intelligence, how can it observe this many places at once? Meng Yingying said, you don't know, right? Zero is not just an intelligent spiritual body, he is also a super powerful smart brain with a powerful calculating ability. He can accurately calculate 1 billion times per second, so his information processing ability is not something we living beings can compare to. 1 billion times? Ian's spirit didn't have this concept at all. Chu Tian then asked Zero, does this have any other functions? Other than the monitoring function, I also have the city management function. Zero said in a fixed manner, I can connect to the radio and communication systems, allowing the citizens to communicate with me directly. Whether it is inquiries, requests for help, or disputes, I can handle them all. Because I have obtained the authority to control the city's defense and security forces, I can directly mobilize the garrison and patrol teams, using the city's security resources to deal with all kinds of sudden incidents. Other than that, all the city's non-strategic and strategic documents will be sent to me for analysis and approval. Meng Yingying was stunned. This was too shocking. A Zero smart brain could surpass an outstanding management team in Miracle City. Chu Tian rubbed his chin, I think your use shouldn't be limited to this. That's right, City Lord, but my processing ability is limited, so I can only do this for now. How much do you think you need to strengthen it before you can do the other tasks? If the source energy matrix can be increased by 5 times, I can connect to the Miracle Shopping Center, the Spiritual Internet, the Transport Tower, Miracle Banking, and the Space Warehouse. I can control the shopping centers, banks, transport towers, and space warehouses from the highest terminal, creating the Spiritual Energy Internet, and etc., ensuring the normal operation of the important platforms. If my source energy matrix can be increased by 20 times, I can connect to the Yunsek's laboratory and participate in complex experiments, creating a stable virtual spiritual world. Chu Tian nodded, without considering the size, adding a few more source energy matrices, it isn't hard to increase it by 5 to 20 times. Young miss, tell Central State to hurry up. Do you still need to say this? Meng Qinggu rolled her eyes at him, I've already given the order. This was simply a god. This was everyone's only evaluation of Zero. Chapter 470. Smart Brain's abilities were not limited to this, it could penetrate into all aspects of life in the future. From production automation to military construction, resource exploration, strategic planning, inventions, and even predictions, it was omnipotent and could be used in any way. Smart Brain was absolutely calm. It had intelligence and no emotions, unconditionally obeying its creator and unconditionally carrying out orders. Smart Brain would not be tied down by emotions or morals, everything was calculated to achieve the best result. It was absolutely cold, absolutely righteous, and absolutely rational. Speaking of this, in less than half a month, the young miss had actually managed Zero into managing the city. This was definitely not an easy matter. With a super strong assistant like Zero, a meticulous, cautious, and intelligent manager like the young miss, as well as a heaven-defying person like Chu Tian, Miracle City's future was limitless. It was finally on the right track. If Smart Brain didn't appear, Miracle Commerce would only be the richest company on the continent. What Chu Tian pursued was not just this, what he wanted was to transcend. Smart Brain's appearance would increase his knowledge and wisdom by several times, allowing him to reach his goal. 0. Please introduce Miracle Commerce and Miracle City's situation, letting our little sister sect master understand. Yes, Sir City Lord. Zero's figure suddenly disappeared from the array and his voice came from the speakers around him, projecting a phantom image. Miracle Commerce's founders Chu Tian, Meng Qingguo, Meng Yingying, and Nan Gongyun were founded in southern Xia's South Sky City a year and a half ago. When Miracle Commerce was first established, it was just an empty shell company without any fame. It relied on the Meng family's small local company, Southern Cloud Commerce. Chairman Chu Tian used source energy cooking, source energy electric lamps, and other innovative products to open up the market. Zero spoke in an orderly manner while changing the various images. Chu Tian, Meng Qingguo, Meng Yingying, and Nan Gongyun, the four of them looked at the series of changes, and they all felt a sense of time passing. Although it had only been less than a year and a half, Miracle Commerce had already undergone such earth-shattering changes. When they looked back on everything, it was simply unreal. Meng Yingying was a little touched. I didn't expect that we'd been through so much. Ling explained the history and development of Miracle Commerce. Miracle Commerce has worked hard in the Forest of Chaos for several months and has finally established their headquarters in Miracle City. Now Miracle Commerce had a total of 140,000 employees and over 100,000 soldiers. The Yun sect had recruited 550 top scholars from the Gnome Great Elder Clark and now they had over 3,000 high-level researchers. The Truman sect had recently recruited Druid Prophet Yoda, Shaman Priest Luz, Minotaur Arnold, and so on. They now had over 300 high-ranking guests. Miracle Commerce has 85 factories and there are large-scale laboratories in the Great Summer Country's Central State and Southern State, as well as the Gnome Research Center of this era. They have a very strong development potential and their future is limitless. Ling introduced the history of Miracle Commerce. Every product and every action of Miracle Commerce was simply described. This directly impacted Yin Spirit's heart. Although she had heard that there was an incredible company in southern Xia when she was in the Black Moon sect, there were canned food, electric lamps, and other small things that came from caravans. Yin Spirit never thought that Miracle Commerce would be this strong, it was truly a bit unbelievable. What Yin Spirit was truly shocked about was not Miracle Commerce's miraculous rise, but rather the young man standing beside her who seemed like a playboy. Rather than saying that Miracle Commerce's rise was the history of a business empire, it was more like a miracle created by this fellow. There was no doubt. Chu Tian was the absolute soul of Miracle Commerce. Although Chu Tian never interfered with the company's management, if Miracle Commerce didn't have Chu Tian, it would have been impossible for them to develop to their current scale in 100 or 1,000 years. Yin Spirit never would have dreamed that this arrogant and hateful fellow would be this kind of powerful person. There was no other person like him on the entire continent. Meng Qingguo gave Ling a new order. Ling, please explain our plans for the Forest of Chaos. Yes, Vice City Lord. When Ling's voice fell, several dozen mirrors left their frames and floated in the air. They pieced together, tightly fitting together without any gaps, finally forming a single mirror. A bird's-eye view of Miracle City slowly appeared on it. Miracle City is a typical forest city, with over 98% of the city being covered in forest. The land is used very low and the population is very small. We plan to develop 10% of Miracle City's area, with a maximum population of 10 million. In this image, a portion of the area was split apart, and this part of the area was split a second time. In the end, more than a dozen areas were formed, and each area was noted. From the living area, the industrial area, the breeding area, the planting area, the entertainment area, the commercial area, and the school area. They were all clearly planned. Ling released a simulation of the city. When Yin Spirit saw the simulation of the city in the mirror, her eyes instantly popped out because Miracle City was just too beautiful and it was an ultra-modern city. Although it was only 10% developed, it was still larger than the southern summer imperial city. The mountain forest terrain could not be calculated as a flat surface, it was a three-dimensional space. It was unknown how many people could live in a 2,000-meter-tall mountain. Even if the future city had 10 million people, it would be spread out, giving people a feeling that it was a perfect combination of the city and the mountain forest. It would not be as crowded as a normal human city. It was probably for the sake of transportation. Miracle City was prepared to build large amounts of rails, air transportation, and buy enough ruins mounts. This way, they could connect the large city and it would be much more convenient for the citizens to travel. These are just normal city constructions. When Ling's voice came out, the image in the giant mirror began to rise. It passed the several thousand-meter-tall mountain peak and finally reached above the clouds. There was an incomparably large object that was standing in the sky. Miracle City will gather all their resources and technology in the future to create a floating city. This floating city is not just a floating city and a fortress in the sky, it is also the core headquarters of Miracle Commerce and the symbol of the continent's peak technology. This was a plan that Meng Qinggu had Ling come up with after collecting the information and technology of Miracle Commerce. Through large amounts of calculations and analysis, Ling finally came up with the most reasonable city plan and also proposed the construction of a sky city. This was because with Miracle Commerce's ability, it was possible to build this kind of fortress in the sky. Once the sky city was completed, it would not just become the symbol of Miracle Commerce, it would also be a moving fortress and a center for launching heavy weapons. It would become a peak military deterrent on the continent, making the entire forest of chaos submit and laying the foundation for Miracle Commerce's expansion on the continent. Yin Spirit's mouth was wide open, almost able to swallow an egg. This trip to Miracle City had simply destroyed her worldview. Yin Spirit had always been proud of the Black Moon sect, even looking down on Miracle Commerce. Now it seemed like with Miracle Commerce's current strength, they wouldn't lose to the Black Moon sect. The Chu sect's guest officials included Yoda, Luz, Arnold, and other forest experts. In terms of experts, they could crush the Black Moon sect. Although the Black Moon sect had 200,000 elite cultivators, in terms of military strength and completeness, they were still a bit lacking compared to Miracle Commerce. Miracle Commerce's source energy weapons could quickly arm their entire army, and with the powerful deterrence of the Heaven's Punishment airships, even if the Black Moon sect hid in their mountain protecting array, they would only be safe for a while. After the situation was introduced, Chu Tian brought Yin Spirit to stroll around Miracle City. Although Miracle City had a small population and their strength wasn't outstanding in the forest, ever since Miracle Commerce moved in, this place was filled with vitality. Miracle City had just recruited several tens of thousands of soldiers and there were many people who doubted Chu Tian's decision, but now it seemed like it wasn't a loss at all. Miracle City now had several tens of thousands of strong workers. Now that Miracle City was being developed, these several tens of thousands of people were the main construction team. The Miracle Shopping Center, movie theaters, restaurants, hotels, and gambling houses, all of these had to be built. After all, only with a complete set of equipment could it attract people. Other than that, the virtual arena, the virtual trial field, and the spiritual library, these special equipment that Miracle Commerce had to be built in large amounts. There was no need to mention the other basic equipment, this was definitely a large project. Luckily Miracle Commerce didn't lack resources and had a strong transportation ability. Now that there were several tens of thousands of workers and they had recruited several tens of thousands of people, large amounts of gnomes came to help, and the company wildly threw money into the construction. The city was already beginning to take shape. Yin Spirit stood on a hill, looking at the bustling Miracle City. She could deeply feel the vitality of this city and the strong power hidden in this city. Whether it was the citizens or the forest locals, they were all filled with passion when it came to the construction of the city. This was because these people had already seen Miracle Commerce's strength and felt the changes Miracle Commerce had brought to their lives. The canned food, the communication device, the magnetic sound device, the video player, and etc., these little things were changing their lives in an unprecedented way. These people all had a premonition. An unprecedentedly beautiful home was being born. who didn't want their home to be better? Therefore, when they were constructing the city, it wasn't just for miracle commerce, it was for themselves and for their descendants. The difference was too large. What did the Black Moon sect count for in front of miracle commerce? Yin's spirit now completely believed the wild words Chu Tian said a few days ago. Chu Tian crossed his arms across his chest. The powers in the forest of chaos are very strong and miracle commerce isn't willing to touch them for now, so we can only use our unique advantage to expand our territory in the outside world. Great Summer, Great Zhou, and Northern Militant, once the three countries join together, the surrounding 7-8 small countries will not be a problem. This will provide a strong support for miracle commerce's development, allowing them to challenge the Eagle Burial Kingdom in the north and defending a region in the Forest of Chaos, creating a foundation for fighting with the forest giants. So, little sister sect master, whether you're willing or not, the Great Zhou country must be unified. That's right. This was not a joke. This had a large strategic significance to miracle commerce. There was no need to worry about the Great Summer country and miracle commerce's relationship. The northern militant country was in a state of disunity, so it wasn't hard to establish a government in the chaos. Only the Great Zhou country was a bit troublesome. There were over 100 large and small powers led by the 6 spiritual mountains, and the special thing about the Great Zhou country was that each sect was independent. Not only were they hidden deep in the mountains, they had their own inheritances, so it was too troublesome to deal with them like this. The best method was to support a spokesperson in the Great Zhou country. Yin's spirit's innate talent wasn't bad and she was very young. Chu Tian appreciated her, so he came up with this idea. He wanted to support the Black Moon sect to become the largest sect in the Great Zhou country, allowing the heavenly Yin mountain to suppress the other 5 spiritual mountains. Then he would rebuild the Great Zhou royal family and control the small and medium sects in the secular world. The Great Zhou country was rich in resources and had a deep background, so it could provide quite a bit of spatial crystals for miracle commerce. If these spatial crystals were used well, miracle commerce would have several more chess pieces. Chapter 471. This was not a small matter in the end. No matter how strong miracle commerce was, little sister sect master couldn't make a decision on the spot, she still needed time to think about it. Even if she had decided to agree to Chu Tian, she had to at least consider how to obtain the most benefits for herself and the Black Moon sect. This is the so-called seeing is believing. How about staying in Miracle City for a few days and walking around the city? I'll find someone to play with you. Chu Tian looked over everyone and saw that Vivian was about to jump out. She had been bored to death in the city lord's castle, so of course this kind of good job was what she wanted. Vivian, you can accompany the sect master to play. It's convenient for you to have spatial abilities, so you can eat, drink, and play at public expense, so have fun. Yes. It was hard for Vivian to hide her joy as she immediately stood up to greet Chu Tian. She impatiently turned to Yin's spirit and said, "Little sect master, let's go." Yin's spirit said in a dissatisfied voice, "Why do you have to add a little?" Ha, 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 according to human age, I'm already around 70 years old. I'm old enough to be your grandmother, don't tell me I don't have the qualifications to call you that. This was the first time Vivian had used her age to suppress others, making Yin's spirit speechless. Let's go. Vivian used her spatial energy and the two of them disappeared. Elder sister Nangong and I want to take a look at the trial field. You can go. Nangong and Yingying happily left. Yingying had been paying attention to the trial field. This trial field was going to be an amusement park in the future. As two people who loved to play, naturally they were very diligent. Young miss, let's go as well. Chu Tian's eyes turned white and the spatial energy he released was like a storm, instantly taking him and Meng Qinggu away. When Meng Qinggu came back to her senses, she had already returned to the city lord's castle. Meng Qinggu's beautiful eyes flashed with a trace of surprise. Your spatial abilities are not weaker than Vivian's. Chu Tian sat down on the city lord's throne and crossed his legs, saying with a proud expression, "Isn't this nonsense? How could my abilities be weak? Are there any new results to report recently?" Great Xia's laboratory is progressing smoothly. The automatic array formation machine has been manufactured. Meng Qinggu brewed a cup of elven green tea for Chu Tian. She and Chu Tian had already developed a tacit understanding. Even if Chu Tian didn't say anything, she could guess what Chu Tian wanted to know. Therefore, she had already prepared everything before Chu Tian came back. Now that she opened an image transfer mirror in the conference room, the scene of Miracle Commerce's Central State factory appeared in front of her. Several researchers first took out a piece of crystal that had a talisman design engraved on a transparent crystal. After inserting the transparent talisman design into the machine, they added a few primeval stones into the primeval stone slot, and the whole machine started to work. The pure primordial stones extracted from the primordial stones were extracted and finally poured into a crystal stone pen. This crystal stone pen automatically began to draw. In less than 2 minutes, a complete talisman was made. After testing the talisman, it was proven that the talisman could be used perfectly, without the slightest error or flaw. This meant that Miracle Commerce had entered the industrial era. In the future, they wouldn't need to spend this much effort to make the super source energy matrix. With several hundred automatic array machines engraving talismans, they only needed to create a template and it would be done once and for all. In the future, the production speed of these array machines would far surpass that of humans. Countless Yun sect scholars would be freed from their repetitive work. The production speed and output of Miracle Commerce's products would explode, so they wouldn't need to worry about their trade secrets being leaked. Those liberated scholars would have more time to improve and upgrade the source energy matrix, which was a very good thing. There is another very important matter to report. Meng Qinggu opened another image transfer mirror and a picture appeared. Look. The image displayed in the mirror was of the basin where the battle with the Lich Fiend had taken place. There were several grey towers built in the basin, and one of the ruins had been completed. It was emitting death energy, and there were hundreds of skeletons around it. They were busy moving junk, chopping wood, and mining rocks. Undead Tower? Wasn't this the Lich's undead tower? When did the young miss make this thing? Zero has the complete memories and knowledge of the Lich. This is a precious treasure, how can we waste it? Meng Qinggu revealed a faint smile. The deathly energy in the undead ruins almost destroyed all of Miracle City. Although I wasn't in Miracle City at the time, I was very shocked when I heard of this matter, so that power must not be weak. If the Lich can control this power, why can't we? These skeleton soldiers use the power of the undead tower to move around. They are fast and come like the wind, they are simply natural laborers. When Meng Qinggu talked about the skeleton soldiers, she seemed very excited. No matter what kind of dirty work they do, they can do it without complaint. I think there isn't a single merchant that would reject this kind of good worker. If we can have tens of thousands of these skeleton soldiers in the future, we won't have to worry about people doing hard and dangerous work like mining. They can even replace a lot of laborers. Undead laborers, cheap economy, how could the young miss not realize this good thing as a merchant? Powerful, powerful, the young miss really deserves to be the pillar of Miracle City. Chu Tian was full of praise and affirmation for the young miss, but the undead tower isn't just used to control the undead. Have Zero prepare the blueprints, I want to study them. The energy in the undead ruins surpassed Chu Tian's imagination. Because it wasn't far from Miracle City, there would be many uses for it in the future. Meng Qinggu gently took a sip of the green tea. The two of them suddenly fell silent for a few seconds. She put down the cup. I work hard for you in front of and behind the scenes all day. Don't tell me you still want to hide some things from me. Chu Tian was stunned by these words that came out of nowhere. What do you mean? The young miss looked over with sparkling eyes. When Chu Tian met her eyes, he felt a strange fluster in his heart. You know it in your heart. Meng Qinggu looked at him from the side. In her eyes that were like a mirror, the normally gentle and filled with wisdom actually had a bit of resentment. The young miss always had the image of a strong woman in Miracle Commerce. There was no one in the company that didn't accept her position. This kind of person had an expression of resentment, like she had been abandoned by a heartless man. This made Chu Tian's scalp go numb. Chu Tian shook his head. I still don't know what you're talking about. Meng Qinggu saw that Chu Tian was still acting like a fool. She finally couldn't help slapping the table. It's about you and Yingying. Ah, how did you know? Chu Tian was very surprised, worrying about how to explain this matter to the young miss. He remembered Yingying's words on the prairies, so of course he knew the young miss' thoughts. How could he tell her this matter? Who would have thought that the young miss already knew? Could it be that Yingying told you? Although she didn't tell me, with my relationship with Yingying, do you think this kind of thing can be hidden from me? The young miss snappily said, I am Yingying's closest big sister. Not only do we talk about everything, I've watched Yingying grow up, so it's not wrong to say I'm half a parent. Outsiders can't see the changes in her body, but do you think I can't see it? Chu Tian was a bit embarrassed. Yes, the young miss is very perceptive. You two are hiding it from me at the same time. When the young miss said this, she revealed a look of grievance, truly too hateful. Chu Tian was in the wrong, so he quibbled, the matter of me and Yingying dating, I was prepared to tell everyone at the right time, but who would have thought that the young miss would find out ahead of time? I asked the young miss to forgive me, this one didn't do it on purpose. Humph, stop pretending, do you think I don't understand you? Meng Qinggu put her hands on the table as she stood up. The power of the female city lord and chairman erupted. I'm telling you, since you've started dating, you have to treat her well. If Yingying is wronged in the future, I won't forgive you. Yingying was too pure, she couldn't hide her thoughts at all. The matter of her liking Chu Tian was known by the entire miracle commerce, and Chu Tian had always taken special care of Yingying. Their relationship developing to this point could be said to be natural, there was nothing to say. Meng Qinggu saw her little sister's happiness as an older sister, what else could she say? Meng Qinggu was stared at by Chu Tian for a while with a strange gaze. What are you looking at? You're giving Yingying to me this easily. What else can I do? Chu Tian muttered in his heart. Yingying said that the young miss also liked him, but looking at the young miss' current appearance, she was very relaxed. Where was she jealous at all? Then I can be assured. I was worried that our miracle commerce would put on a good show of blood sisters fighting over a handsome man, finally turning against each other. Pei, speaking without thinking. Meng Qingwu's face turned a bit red. Are you disappointed right now? Chu Tian gave a disappointed sigh. A bit. Come here. What for? Meng Qingwu reached out her arms to grab Chu Tian's neck, gently leaning her head on his shoulder. The young miss had a dignified and steady personality, actually doing this kind of thing. This made Chu Tian feel a bit of disbelief. Hey, young miss, in broad daylight, it's not good for us to do this. Even if you can't hold it in, you should find a place with no one around. There are people watching right now. The little fox covered its eyes, indicating that it didn't see anything. You guys can continue. Don't speak nonsense. Meng Qinggu closed her eyes and softly said, I'm suddenly a bit tired, let me lean on your shoulder. I've been working for you for so long, you wouldn't be this stingy, right? Chu Tian didn't know what to do, so he could only correct the young miss. You are Miracle Commerce's second largest shareholder and Miracle City's second city lord. How could you say I'm working for you? Meng Qinggu acted like she didn't hear anything and said in a sleep-talking voice, remember when the southern summer country's border was broken and we almost died while running for our lives? I'll never forget it in my life. It's rare for a person like me to be in such a sorry state. We fell into the water together. You were heavily injured and I couldn't move, we would have died in the jaws of the beasts. You could have run away yourself, so why did you send me to shore without a care for your life? You already did your best, so even if you gave up on me, you didn't do anything wrong. You have to know that 1,000 Meng Qingwus cannot compare to a single Chu Tian. This is not doing business in the market, it cannot be measured by value. This is a matter of a man's principles, there is no why. I knew it, you're like a fool sometimes. Meng Qinggu revealed a faint smile and her voice was very calm, just like she was chatting with a good friend. Do you know, from that moment on, after Yingying, there was another important person in my life. Chu Tian said in a surprised voice, "Young miss, can I think of it as you confessing to me? If you like it, then do it." Meng Qinggu released her hands and revealed a blank expression. "You and Yingying are the people I care about the most. I am very happy that the two people I care about the most are happy, but I also feel helpless at the same time. It's like I've lost two people at once, so what do you think I should do?" This is a good question. It's very philosophical and very challenging. Chu Tian asked in a probing voice, "Then how about I work a bit harder and marry both of you sisters?" "In your dreams, you're dreaming." Meng Qinggu had already returned to normal. She first glared at Chu Tian, "Treat Yingying well from now on. As for our matters, we'll slowly settle them in the future. You owe me quite a bit anyways." Meng Qinggu vented the stone in her heart and felt much more relaxed, continuing to work. The young miss was truly a very contradictory person. Chapter 472. Vivian began to play with Yin's spirit. Although the city was still under construction and the foundations weren't complete, it was still something other cities couldn't compare to. Vivian already wanted to have a good time, so she immediately made a plan. "We'll first watch a movie, then we'll go to the shopping center, then we'll go to the Miracle Hotel to eat, and finally we'll play in the trial field. What do you think?" How could Yin's spirit have an idea? She would just follow her plan. "Come, we'll go to the theater to buy tickets." The two of them chose the luxurious Elven Hall and also wanted the most expensive VIP seats. The forest races all had different sizes and eating habits, so in this kind of entertainment area, it would be very inconvenient if they were all squeezed together. Therefore, they divided the different races into 4 different sized halls. There was the Ogre Hall, the Orc Hall, the Elven Hall, and the Goblin Hall. From the names, one could tell the sizes of the different halls, which meant that Miracle City had many races and was a diverse city. The two of them came to the VIP seats and the large screen was right in front of them. This was the best position, but the price was not cheap. The normal seats were all filled, and they were all half-elves and foxes. There were no ogres or minotaurs in this viewing hall, and it was a luxurious viewing hall. The fees were quite high, and the standards were quite high. Smelly lizard men and such were not allowed in, so the conditions were quite good. "Hello, Vice City Lord." The two gnome waiters recognized Vivian, so they immediately respectfully came forward. "What would you like to order?" "Let me see." Vivian took a look at the menu in an experienced manner. "I want a cup of high-grade elven green tea. It has to be from the Eternal Forest and a spoonful of Lost Forest's fantasy grass powder. As for desserts, I want the gnome's 100-year secret golden truffle, purple gold melon from Flying Dragon Mountain, and dragon caviar biscuits from the underground world." Vivian ordered the most expensive ones. The two waiters' mouths turned into O shapes. These were the most expensive things. Not to mention the others, just the price of a cup of Eternal Forest's elven green tea was enough to scare a person to death. These desserts were all expensive. If it wasn't for Vivian wearing the city lord's robe sitting here, they would have called the guards to kick them out. Vivian looked at Yin's spirit beside her after ordering, "What do you want to drink?" Miracle City has everything. There are all kinds of spirit teas, several kinds of 1,000-year wines, and there are even some that are directly transported from the space warehouse. There are also many kinds of desserts. Just order whatever you want, no need to be polite. Yin's spirit was filled with emotions. Being able to enjoy the good things of various races without leaving the house, this kind of life was truly satisfying. "I'll give you the same. We don't have these things in reserve. All of them need to be taken from the warehouse, so we have to pay the fee first." The two attendants suppressed the shock in their hearts. "Vice City Lord, do you want to pay on the spot or?" Vivian gave the menu to the waiter. "I didn't bring any money. Today is business and I have the City Lord's permission, so everything will be recorded in the City Lord's palace. Quickly bring the things up, don't delay Miracle City's guests." It was true that Vivian was the City Lord and had a very high administrative rank, but her rank in the Chamber of Commerce was a few ranks lower than Meng Qinggu, and her authority was incomparable to Meng Qinggu's. The cinema was opened by Miracle Commerce. Even if Vivian was the City Lord, she couldn't just eat and drink here. This kind of thing had to be confirmed immediately. How could they confirm it? The two attendants found the owner of the cinema and used the communication device to contact the city manager. They immediately found Vivian's situation on Zero's side. Today's expenses were all paid by the city's finance department, so they didn't have any worries. 2 cups of elven green tea were immediately brought up. There were all kinds of desserts that dazzled people's eyes. The fragrance from the VIP seats filled the entire cinema and everyone couldn't help looking over. Vivian was in a very good mood and immediately said on her own, "There are guests coming to Miracle City today, this city lord is also very happy. I'll treat everyone here to a cup of elven tea." Everyone loudly thanked the Vice City Lord. Ian's spirit couldn't help thinking. With the City Lord and Vice City Lord messing around like this, it really wasn't easy for Miracle City to develop to this day. It really wasn't easy for that beautiful and noble female City Lord. The elven green tea was very expensive, not to mention it came from the eternal forest. Ian's spirit took a small sip and immediately felt a strong vitality flowing through her body like an ocean. This was because there was a spoonful of the Lost Forest's fantasy grass powder in the green tea. This spiritual material was similar to a hallucinogen, giving people an unimaginable sense of joy. Even if it was a helpless person, as long as they took a small sip, they would feel joy in their body and mind. It was like they were in the clouds, like they were a high-up princess, the happiest person in the world. The desserts Vivian wanted were all of the best quality from the forest. The gnome's secret golden truffle, the flying dragon cliff's golden melon, the dangerous devil's mouth under Miracle City, and the dark world's dragon caviar-filled biscuits. Each one was made from the best materials in the forest. Ian's spirit was the great Zhou country's Black Moon sect master, but she had never experienced this kind of enjoyment before. The movie in the theater began to play at this time. Now that Miracle Commerce's movie production was becoming more and more mature, there weren't just traveling poets participating, there were also the flower fairies, elves, and gnomes participating. Each story was filled with imagination and the story was full of ups and downs, making people immersed in it. The movie the two of them were watching was The Demon Dragon, which was the story of a hell demon dragon and the forest's various races. From the beginning, the large races of the forest didn't like each other, fighting openly and secretly. Then the demon dragon descended into the forest, instantly turning the world into scorched earth. Finally, the surviving forest races were led by a hero and broke through their differences. Through a tragic epic battle, they finally defeated the terrifying demon dragon. Finally, the descendants of the hero lived together and built a forest city. The entire story was 3 hours long and it could be said to be extremely intense. It was filled with honor, responsibility, family, love, and sacrifice, mainly promoting the unity of the forest races. Finally, it hinted at the path Miracle City would take and also used this theme to advertise the Hell Demon Dragon's trial that Miracle City had just completed. Too wonderful. Ian's spirit was completely immersed in this soul-stirring epic story. It feels like I'm personally witnessing a legend. Vivian finished the green tea and ate the last half of the sandwich. There are quite a few cinemas like this, but most of them are in the Great Xia Kingdom. It is said that they have already penetrated into the non-main cities and have become the main form of entertainment and leisure for the people. We can also target local advertisements according to the needs of the local businessmen. Every movie produced can earn more than 100 times the profit. The Great Zhou country has more people than the Great Summer country, just the theater alone is a large piece of fat meat. The Great Zhou country had 300–400 million people, which was around double the Great Summer country's population. This theater was a very common business among Miracle Commerce's businesses. It couldn't compare to the spatial transport, warehouse, spiritual energy, or communication, but it still had a high value, enough to support a large company. Come, we'll go take a look at the Miracle Shopping Center. Perhaps there'll be something you like. Vivian brought Ian's spirit to the Miracle Shopping Center, which was made from a small castle. When Ian's spirit walked in, she found that this shopping center was very large. Not only were there many counters, there were also some special products that were displayed through image transfer mirrors or illusions. These all needed to be ordered. The Miracle Shopping Center's advantage was something normal stores could not compare to. Just the space warehouse could bring things from all over the world to one place, turning this place into the largest and most convenient shopping center in the world. As long as one had enough money, there was nothing they couldn't buy in the Miracle Shopping Center in the future. Although the Miracle Shopping Center is not complete, it has already been connected to the Great Summer Country, Oldman Small Town, and the surrounding tribes and towns. Don't look at how small this place is, there are already over 4,000 of them, with over 500 of them coming from the forest. At this time, 2 ogre children passed by Vivian. They immediately stopped and politely greeted Vivian. "Hello, Vice City Lord. Did you come here to shop?" Vivian looked at the 2 ogre children with curiosity. Although they were children, they were already twice Vivian's age. The 2 ogre children looked very shy and their words were a bit inappropriate. No, we came here to do business." "Do business?" This surprised cry came from Ian's spirit. The ogres were a race that only had brute force and no brains, they actually knew how to do business. One of the ogres said, "Our tribe has an orchard behind us that can produce high-quality spirit fruits. Many rich human nobles like to eat them. When the esteemed Lady Dolores passed by our tribe, she discovered this fruit orchard. She generously provided us with a loan, allowing our tribesmen to develop the fruit orchard. Right now, there are sales outlets in 10 cities in the humans' Great Xia Kingdom, and we are selling plenty of fruits every day. We are here to deliver the goods, and the fruits stored in the warehouse are almost sold out." Vivian revealed an expression of understanding. "Then you must have earned quite a bit." The ogres did not have any schemes and the 2 ogres revealed expressions of gratitude. "Our harvest this week is more than in a year. The human nobles are just too rich. These spirit fruits are everywhere in the forest and they are willing to spend precious source stones to buy them." "That's right." The other ogre said, "Her Excellency Dolores has found people to build a jam factory for the ogres. In the future, we can sell the spirit fruit jams and earn double the money. There are too many good things in the forest and we have recently opened a mine. These ores are very valuable in the human countries. Under Her Excellency Dolores' guidance, we will soon have an ogre company. As long as Miracle City exists, everyone's days will become better and better." There had never been ogre merchants in the forest. This was because ogres were stupid and had no business sense. Now the situation was different. After Dolores inspected them, she gave them money, gave them pointers, and even found people to help them start a business. Moreover, the Miracle Shopping Center was fair and transparent, even ogres would not be cheated. So it wasn't strange for ogre merchants and minotaurs to appear. Ian's spirit now knew that Miracle City did not just make them rich, it also made the people around them make money. "We still need to transport several batches of fruits, otherwise the Great Summer Country will run out of stock." "All right." Vivian nodded, "Then you can go do your work." Yes, our tribe is at counter 223. You are welcome to try and buy our spirit fruits." These 2 ogres seemed like they were very busy. They said goodbye to Vivian and immediately left. Ian's spirit felt like she had suffered a large blow. A part of the Great Zhou country was on the edge of the Forest of Chaos, so they were frequently attacked by ogres. In her impression, ogres were a group of people who ate flesh and blood, wild and violent fellows. But now, the 2 ogres wore clean leather vests. Their skin, which was supposed to be tougher than rhinoceroses and covered in parasites, had been brushed at least 10 times before they left the house. Their bloody mouths, which were used to munch on human flesh and brains as snacks, were now filled with joy and satisfaction. There weren't just ogre merchants in the Miracle Shopping Center, there were also various races, strong and weak. They were all busy and filled with order. Although the current Miracle Shopping Center was not large, with the flourishing scene in front of them and the fox merchants led by Dolores, the future could be predicted. Chapter 473. The 2 of them strolled to their heart's content. It was natural for women to like shopping. The Miracle Shopping Center's system wasn't complete, but the products were quite abundant. They could buy dwarven weapons, they could buy special pills, and they had the most complete material market. At least it was hard to find a more convenient, comprehensive, and large shopping center on the continent. Any shopaholic could obtain the greatest satisfaction here. The convenience of shopping on the Miracle Shopping Center was not something any shopping center could compare to. Even if there was no stock, as long as there was an order, Miracle Commerce would use the space warehouse to transport it over. This platform was not only a shopping and business heaven for Miracle City's citizens, it was also a large benefit to the surrounding tribes and towns. The surrounding towns and large tribes did not have the conditions to build a space warehouse, but they could use the radio to learn about the new products and promotions of the Miracle Shopping Center every day. They could use the communication device to inquire about the situation of the products, and they could send orders to the local shopping center every day. Miracle Commerce prepared 10 Miracle airships to transport goods. It wasn't for anything else, just to transport goods. Orders made on the same day would be delivered the next day. With high-altitude transport, it was safe and reliable. The lives of the tribes and small towns near the city had been greatly improved. Their local products could be easily sold everywhere. They could buy high-quality human products from the Great Summer Country or the high-quality dwarven equipment from Oldman Small Town's dwarven mines. Magnetic sound machines, video players, and etc., they were all popular in the hands of these locals. They listened to the Miracle Broadcasting Station's information every day, ate the source energy food bought by Miracle Commerce, drank the good wine from the Miracle Shopping Center, and used the various human-made pills and tools. Miracle City had been here for a month, it had already infiltrated every aspect of the surrounding locals' lives. Because of the industrial area in the forest, many locals found jobs. They didn't have the time or energy to fight all day like before, so they all entered the factories to train and prepare for jobs. Those locals who were unwilling to be ordinary had formed forest partners in groups of 3s and 5s, creating a wave of entrepreneurship. After all, they were close to Miracle Commerce's future headquarters, Miracle City, so they had an advantage that other places on the continent didn't have. Dolores then led the caravan around to guide and invest. Soon, a large plantation area, breeding area, all kinds of medicinal fields, orchards, and factories would appear in the forest. It was estimated that in a year or two, they would spring up like bamboo shoots after a spring rain. Although these were all local businesses, they more or less had some shares in Miracle Commerce. Miracle Bank was not stingy with lending everywhere, but source stones were tight and the interest kept increasing, but there were more and more people asking for loans because Miracle City's future was just too good. Right now, they were still in a period of desolation. If they participated in the wave of entrepreneurship during this period, and with the guidance of the Fox merchant, it was basically impossible for them to not be able to repay the loan, not to mention losing money. Ian's spirit felt that Miracle City was not simple. What Miracle City would become in the future was not something Ian's spirit could imagine. This place was already filled with endless possibilities. Hey, Ying. It's me, Vivian. It's getting dark. Let's eat together. Vivian took out the communication device and called Ying's number. Right. Miracle Grand Hotel, we'll see you in a bit. Finished. Vivian hung up, let's go. Little sect master, I'll treat you to a delicious meal. With a wave of her hand, space was cut open and the two of them directly arrived at the Miracle Grand Hotel. This place was located at the top of a mountain in the center of a lake, surrounded by the clear lake water. There was a towering mountain in the center, with a castle hotel standing on top of it. There were bright moons and stars above them, giving it a different style. There was no smoke within several kilometers of the Miracle Grand Hotel, but don't look at how remote this place was. The Miracle Grand Hotel was very lively, with all the rich chiefs and gnomes coming here. Several of the halls were already filled. Vivian settled down in the best room by the lake. The space here was large, and the decorations were very elegant and natural. It was even connected to a large balcony. Outside, under the moonlight, was the clear and crystalline surface of the lake. If one was interested, they could even go down the stairs and sit in the pavilion to fish, drink tea, and admire the moon. Vivian held the thick dishes and didn't look at them carefully, directly ordering the most expensive ones. Even the soup was made with the Green Religion Temple's water of life, since it was all from Miracle Commerce. The elves were said to be simple. This princess didn't seem like an elven race at all. At this time, Ying brought Nangong Yun to teleport and stumbled to the entrance of the hotel. The two of them almost fell into the lake. Nangong Yun immediately complained, "Ying, what are you doing? We almost crashed into the mountain." Sorry. Meng Ying kept apologizing, who told spatial energy to be too complex. Even if I copied Vivian's source spirit, it would still be hard to control. Vivian immediately stood up, "Over here, quickly come." The ingredients and spices for this feast were all incomparably precious level 3 materials. A source energy chef that could easily cook these ingredients had to be in the true spirit realm. This kind of person could be independent even in the Great Zhou country, but running to become a chef, it could be imagined how high the cost was. Not to mention that this peak source energy chef was willing to put down the dignity of an expert to become a chef. This meant that he had a strong passion for food, so his skills were definitely not bad. This table of meat and wine was very fragrant, each dish was worth over 100 source stones. The 4 girls were all younger than each other. Nangong Yun looked like she was around 18 or 19 years old, Meng Ying looked like she was 16, Vivian looked like she was 13-14, and the youngest Yin spirit was a 10-year-old girl. For these 4 girls to order such a luxurious table that could be considered a top-class banquet, it really made people speechless. "It's really delicious." Nangong Yun was the most impolite. She grabbed a bare paw and began gnawing on it. Her mouth was covered in grease as she vaguely said, "How was your stroll today? Do you have time tonight to go to the trial field? No one has been able to last more than 3 minutes in front of the Hell Demon Dragon's trial, so I think it won't be a problem for us to team up." "Alright, I was planning on going to the trial field to play anyway. I'll call big sister Chen Bingyu over as well." Vivian said with an excited expression, "Time passes slowly in the trial field, I don't believe that with our strength, we can't beat that demon dragon in an entire night." Meng Ying tightly clenched her fists, "That's right, defeat the demon dragon." The 3 of them were filled with fighting spirit. Yin spirit was a bit confused. "What kind of thing was this fun? I have something good for you." Meng Ying revealed a cute smile. She searched her storage pocket and took out 2 palm-sized things. "This is Big Sister Kai Dai and Big Sister Yunyao. They made something good in Oldman's small town, but it isn't common yet. Only the internal members have it." Feng Kai Dai, Yunyao, and Yun Xiao were high-level members of Miracle Commerce, but they were in Oldman's small town, so they couldn't come to Miracle City for now. Right now Oldman's small town was very popular and Miracle Commerce had the largest market there. Miracle Commerce also had a research facility in the small town and this thing was a good thing made there. "What is this?" Vivian looked over the thing a few times. This thing was a bit bigger than her palm and it was made of metal. It was a bit heavy and 2/3 of the front was covered in a mirror. Vivian could see it. It wasn't a normal mirror, rather it was a modified image transfer. The other third had buttons for various functions. Although there isn't anything new, it is very creative. Meng Ying seemed to like this little thing a lot. Our Miracle Commerce's #1 mechanism master Tong Xiaoyu brought several experienced researchers. They combined the magnetic sound machine, the video player, the camera, and the communication device, making it into this little thing. "Don't you think it's magical? Is this true or false?" Vivian's little face was filled with shock. "Your meaning is that this little thing can listen to the radio, receive images, take pictures, and even communicate?" "Of course. Our Miracle Commerce really has many talented people. Sit closer and I'll demonstrate it for you." The 4 of them moved their heads together. Meng Ying pressed the top button, and the screen lit up. The device had been activated. There were many function buttons below it, and each button could activate a different function. There were simple diagrams drawn on the surface of the buttons, so they could basically be understood. This is the magnetic sound machine function. Ying pressed the button on the magnetic sound machine and the little device connected to the Miracle broadcasting station, immediately releasing the sound from the station. Although the reception was a bit weak, it could still be heard clearly. Other than that, there were 2 buttons that could switch channels. This is the video player function. Ying pressed another button on the video player and the image transfer mirror in the device began to change. It received several video channels, as well as a Miracle Shopping Center shopping channel. This meant that with this little thing in hand, people could lie down and buy things at home. This is the camera button. Ying pressed the camera button and the lens on the back of the device activated. The image it captured was displayed on the image transfer mirror, and with a press of the camera button, it could instantly capture the image. This is the communication function. After activating the communication function, do you see these 10 little buttons? These are all 1 to 0 buttons, used to call the communication number. This is no different from the communication device. Ying's spirit said in a surprised voice, "This is too mysterious." She never thought there would be such a good thing. Good, very good. Vivian was also very satisfied. It really is much more convenient. Has the name of this thing been decided yet? It can be held in the hand and it is very convenient. It combines the magnetic sound machine, video player, camera, and communication device functions into one. Of course we need a new name. Meng Ying paused and cleared her throat before saying, after the chief designer, Tong Xiaoyu, as well as Feng Kaidai and big sister Yunyao discussed it, we decided to call it a cell phone. Cell phone, this is quite appropriate. These people held this Miracle Commerce first-generation cell phone and were happily playing with it at this moment. Ying's spirit also liked it very much. There was no one who didn't like convenient things, not to mention the fact that the cell phone was this useful. The 4 of them studied the cell phone while eating and drinking. The 4 of them weren't big, but their appetites couldn't be underestimated. They didn't waste anything and most of the delicacies on the table were eaten. The one who ate the most was not Nangong Yun, but rather the small Yin spirit. This was her first time enjoying such a sumptuous meal. The temptation of spirit energy delicacies made her fall and she had thoughts of quitting her sect master position, coming here every day to eat and drink. The 4 of them went to the trial field after eating and they dragged Chen Bingyu along the way. The Miracle City's trial field's newly opened Hell Demon Dragon's trial was very difficult and there were movies showing it recently, so naturally there were many challengers. The trial field was filled with people until late at night. The Demon Dragon's strength was not fixed, it would weaken or strengthen according to the strength of the challengers. No matter who went into play, the challenges would be equally large. The 5 of them were tortured to death in the trial field, using all kinds of tactics, but they died to the demon dragon each time. But the more challenging it was, the more they played. When the sun rose, they had already failed over 100th time and they left in exhaustion. What was there to hesitate about? This time, Yin's spirit found Chu Tian and firmly expressed her willingness to join Miracle Commerce. She was willing to support the development of Miracle Commerce in the Great Zhou country with all the power of the sect. Even if it wasn't for the Black Moon sect, for herself to eat and play, she would stay in Miracle City for a long time. This was simply heaven. Chapter 474. A shocking piece of news spread through the Great Zhou country. The Black Moon sect found the missing Great Zhou royal family princess 18 years ago. The Black Moon sect's master Yin's spirit announced that they were looking for the Great Zhou royal family's ancestral land, allowing the Great Zhou princess to inherit the king's remains and rebuild the Great Zhou royal family, ruling the scattered Great Zhou world. Although the Great Zhou country was the same as the other countries and didn't have modern communication abilities, so information spread very slowly, this news was still too shocking. Therefore, it spread across the Great Zhou country in just a few days. The other 5 spiritual mountains and sects were all stunned. Why would Yin's spirit make this kind of decision? Could it be she had already gone crazy? Who didn't know that the Great Zhou royal family was destroyed by the 6 mountains working together? If the Great Zhou royal family was rebuilt, would they have any good expressions? Not to mention that the secular powers and resources had already been divided by the large and small sections. Suddenly supporting the great Zhou royal family, wasn't this a cake for everyone else? When they surrounded the great Zhou royal family in the past, the sect masters and sect masters of the 6 great sects attacked at the same time. The sect masters of the other 5 sects were still here, but only the Black Moon sect's old sect master had passed away. 15 years ago, the new sect master Yin Spirit took over the position. In other words, the Black Moon sect had gone through a generation gap, so there was still room for reconciliation with the great Zhou royal family. What about the other 5 sects? The great Zhou royal family had become the 7th superpower in the great Zhou country in the past. Among the rogue cultivators and small and medium-sized sects, they had a very high reputation and rallying power. Even now, there were quite a few rogue cultivators that lived in seclusion that missed them. The Black Moon sect had come to revive the royal family. Perhaps there would be many followers and supporters in the country. The retainers and guests of the great Zhou royal family had gathered together after 18 years, this was still a very troublesome power. Adding in the Black Moon sect's support, they could definitely shake the other 5 spiritual mountains. A storm of blood was likely to begin in the great Zhou country. Chu Tian held a short meeting with Yin Spirit and Chen Bingyu in Miracle City, discussing how to take down the great Zhou country. Yin Spirit said, the 6 spiritual mountains are 10,000 years old and each sect has several thousand years of history. They are deeply rooted and have great strength, so they can only be subdued and not destroyed. Otherwise, not to mention whether the large sects with hundreds of thousands of elites could be destroyed, even if they could, they would have to pay a large price. Moreover, once half of the 6 spiritual mountains are destroyed, the great Zhou country won't have much strength left and they won't be able to stop the Eagle Burial Warring Kingdom from heading south. That makes sense. Chu Tian nodded. Our main goal is to subdue them, not to conquer them. However, we still have to get rid of a few unconvinced troublemakers. We need to show them our strength. The great Zhou country's 6 spiritual mountains were very strong. Chu Tian was most worried that the 6 spiritual mountains would join together to resist. If they really did this, then it would be a big problem. The 6 spiritual mountains were similar in strength, each one having around 200,000 inner sect disciples. This was equivalent to having around 200,000 awakened soul realm experts that were proficient in inherited cultivation techniques. The 6 sects joining together was over 1 million. Once the 6 sects joined together, it would be enough to gather all the great Zhou sections. If they fought with their backs to the wall, it would be enough to gather 2 million cultivators. This strength would be very troublesome for the Eagle Burial Warring Kingdom. This was also why the Eagle Burial Warring Kingdom had never made a move against the great Zhou country. Chu Tian didn't want to completely conquer them. Therefore there was no need for an all-out war. Now that the Black Moon sect had completely sided with Miracle Commerce didn't need to personally come out. The Black Moon sect could use the Great Zhou royal family's name to move around the Great Zhou country and the entire matter would become a Great Zhou country matter. Since it was an internal matter, everyone would consider their own benefits and wouldn't work together against a common enemy. This matter of re-establishing the Great Zhou royal family, although it would anger the 5 spiritual mountains, it wouldn't make them feel a sense of danger, so it wasn't likely for them to work together. In this kind of relaxed situation, if Chu Tian secretly attacked them one by one, wouldn't the great Zhou country be in his pocket? Chu Tian asked, what does little sister sect master think? Yin Spirit said, there has always been a legend in the great Zhou country. After the great Zhou royal family was destroyed, the great Zhou king left behind a ruin. Chu Tian looked at Chen Bingyu, there is such a thing. This is a secret of the clan. Royal father has over 10 children and I am ranked 11th. I am not the crown prince or the eldest princess and was born from a side concubine, so my position is not very high. Adding in my young age, although I have heard of it, I have never seen it before. Chen Bingyu shook her head, it said that this ruin was left behind by my clan's ancestor and is the reason why my clan was able to rise so quickly. That's right, this ruin is not inferior to the 6 spiritual mountains. Only those with the royal bloodline can open it. Ian's spirit said this and then gave a sigh, only it is a pity that the king's ruin is missing. The 6 spiritual mountains have been searching for it all these years without finding anything. If we can open this ruin, not only will the royal family have hope, the followers of the past great Zhou royal family will flock here to support the new great Zhou king. Understood. The first thing to do was to find the king's ruin. The problem now was that even Chen Bingyu didn't know what her family's ruin looked like. With how large the great Zhou country was, it would be like finding a needle in a haystack. Chu Tian thought about it before saying, "There is a person in Miracle City, he should be able to help." Chu Tian didn't even finish speaking. The cell phone in his pocket rang. Chu Tian took out the cell phone. He had just obtained this thing, so he wasn't used to using it. There was a number on the screen, it wasn't someone else but the young miss. This was strange. He was in a meeting. With the young miss style, unless it was an urgent matter that couldn't be solved, she wouldn't disturb Chu Tian at this time. If there really was a problem the young miss couldn't solve, it wouldn't be a small matter. "Excuse me." Chu Tian picked up the call, "What does the young miss need?" Meng Qingwu's voice was very serious. "Our forest industrial park has been attacked by an unknown force, this matter isn't small. Can you personally come over?" "Attacked?" Chu Tian's brows instantly knit together. Damn it, who did this? In this period of time, Chu Tian had been conscripting soldiers, building large amounts of factories, helping the locals start businesses, and improving the lives of the locals. The surrounding locals all benefited from this, so they should be filled with gratitude towards Miracle City. It couldn't have been done by these people, it could only have been done by an outside force. Even if Miracle City wasn't considered strong right now, it was still a forest city and it was a city under the name of the Eternal Forest. The people that dared move against Miracle City, their background wouldn't be small. Chu Tian had already guessed that Miracle City would be challenged by outside forces during its development. In order to prevent this matter from happening too early, Miracle City had always focused on developing, not exploring the surroundings or touching other people's interests. They focused their development on the Warhounds Plains and the Great Zhou country. Who would have thought that it would still attract the attention of some fellows? There was no way around it, Miracle City's movements were a bit big recently. Chu Tian hung up the cell phone and returned to the conference room. "There has been a sudden situation in the city, so I can't go to the Great Zhou country with you. But there's no need to worry, I will gather a group of elites to help." Ian's spirit knit her brows. "What? If you don't go, how will we find the ruins?" "Relax, I just said that there is someone more suitable than me in Miracle City." At this time, Chu Tian didn't have the mood to keep them in suspense, so he confidently said, "This person is the Druid Prophet Yoda, currently a guest official of the Chu sect, a high-level staff officer of Miracle City, and a spirit transformation expert. There's no need to worry, you should quickly return to the Great Zhou country." The Druid Prophet could communicate with all things and make predictions. With Yoda's ability, finding the ruins wasn't hard. Not to mention that Yoda was a spirit transformation cultivator, this kind of strength was invincible in the Great Zhou country. If Miracle City sent another group of experts, it wouldn't be a problem for the Great Zhou country. Ian's spirit and Chen Bingyu returned to the Black Moon sect first. The Black Moon sect had already released the news and the entire Great Zhou country was in chaos, so the two of them had to find a way to deal with it as soon as possible. Chu Tian asked Yoda for help and Yoda readily agreed, bringing 2 high priests and 10 other priests. Chu Tian rushed to the forest scene. Meng Qingwu was currently comforting them. Because the attack was very sudden, no one knew where the other side came from. But what was certain was that this was a premeditated invasion, it wasn't something simple forest bandits did. Chu Tian asked, "What are the casualties?" "There are around 200 casualties and a newly opened mine has been destroyed." "Are there any suspects?" "There are." Meng Qingwu said, "I think Battle Banner City is the most suspicious. This direction is less than 800 miles from Battle Banner City and most of the small towns and tribes in between have already submitted to us. Only Battle Banner City has the strength and confidence to go against us. Humph, their courage isn't small. How long has it been since someone dared to provoke father like this? Don't be careless, Battle Banner City isn't weak, but that isn't important. The most important thing is that Battle Banner City belongs to the Savage Highlands. So it was a city with a background. It was true that Miracle City belonged to the Eternal Forest, but it was only in name. The Eternal Forest couldn't send troops to help Miracle City, and Miracle City wouldn't pay tribute to the Eternal Forest. Battle Banner City's situation was different. Battle Banner City was established by the Savage Highlands and was a very important chess piece of the Savage Highlands in the center of the forest. This is just the beginning. Meng Qingguo was very worried. If it really is Battle Banner City, they won't stop here. Miracle City has just begun to develop, and if a forest city erupts, all the hard work we've put in these past few days will go to waste. Moreover, it will lead to a large loss. Miracle Bank basically used the company's source stones and the gnome's source stones to help the locals start businesses. Once a large-scale war erupted, it didn't matter who won or lost. It was very likely that this large investment would go to waste. Not only would Miracle City suffer at that time, perhaps even half of Miracle Commerce would collapse. Chapter 475. As Meng Qingguo expected, the attack on the industrial park's mines was just the beginning. Although Miracle Commerce had strengthened their defenses, because they didn't have enough people and the enemy came and went like the wind, there were several other places that were attacked in the next 2 days, causing over 800 casualties. The direct losses weren't serious. But the negative effects were just too bad. It cast a shadow over Miracle Commerce's rising atmosphere. After several surprise attacks, everyone in Miracle City was in danger, which was a large blow to Miracle City's development. Chu Tian, Meng Qingguo, Meng Yingying, Vivian, and Nangong Yun. The high-level people were all in the city lord's castle. During the most recent attack, this is the image captured by the city's surveillance cameras. Meng Qingguo said, "Zero, play the image." All right. Zero's voice sounded out and a large image transfer mirror appeared. There was a silent image inside, which was the scene of the attack. The entire attack was launched by several elite soldiers, ending the battle in just a few minutes and causing a large amount of damage to the city. Because the enemy was too fast and their attacks were too clean, the image transfer mirror couldn't capture them clearly, so it could only see a few green figures. Vivian said, "Green skin, large heads, and the style of their cultivation technique. Although I can't see it clearly, they are most likely orcs, am I right?" "That's right, they are orcs." Meng Qingguo nodded in a very serious manner. This also confirms our suspicions that Battle Banner City is a city ruled by orcs. We can now confirm that this matter is Battle Banner City's plot against Miracle City. Just a dozen people can cause this much damage. Nangong Yun said, "From the skills of these people, the enemy must be a group of experts with decent strength, most likely being experienced true spirit experts. To be able to create this kind of small assault team, it can only be a power from a forest city. I don't understand, Miracle City and Battle Banner City are like well water and river water. We are developing in our own territory, are we hindering them or provoking them? Why do they have to make things difficult for us?" Meng Yingying's delicate and beautiful face was filled with anger and confusion at the same time. These people are cowards. Let's counterattack and attack their Battle Banner City. Meng Qingguo shook her head. Her little sister had followed Chu Tian for a long time, so her way of thinking was similar to Chu Tian. We can't be impulsive this time. Not to mention the fact that Battle Banner City's army is stronger than ours. Miracle City doesn't have the ability to fight right now. Why? Nangong Yun stood up. Although our troops are newly trained, we have source energy weapons. Can't we make up for the difference in strength? The surrounding tribes are all on the same side as Miracle City. If we fight with Battle Banner City, they will definitely help us. Boss, don't you think so? Nangong Yun looked at Chu Tian. Chu Tian shrugged. Let's leave it to Mississippi. Nangong, have you thought about it? Miracle City's defenses haven't been built at all, we don't even have a city protecting barrier. The mountain ranges around Miracle City are more than enough to defend against normal bandits. If we meet an opponent on the level of Battle Banner City, these natural barriers have no meaning at all. If we choose to fight, Miracle City will be drawn into the flames of war. The surrounding factories, spirit fields, and farms will all be destroyed. Not only will all our efforts be wasted, Miracle Bank will also go bankrupt. Miracle City's finances will collapse and the city will fall into a quagmire of crisis. Nan Gongyun felt a headache just hearing this. What should they do? Meng Qingwu's words were reasonable. The enemy's small assault team was enough to cause trouble for Miracle City. If they fought for a long time and the enemy kept sending small teams to attack them, Miracle City's development and production wouldn't be able to continue. Miracle Bank wouldn't be able to take back the money they invested. Then Miracle Commerce would face the danger of going bankrupt. No matter what, we have to avoid fighting. Once we fight, no matter who wins or loses, we will still lose. Not to mention that Battle Banner City is the Savage Highlands gateway to the central region. If we attack Battle Banner City, the Savage Highlands will not sit still. What I'm even more worried about is that this attack was ordered by the Savage Highlands. It has to be known that the Eternal Forest is not weaker than the Savage Highlands, but the Eternal Forest will not send troops for us. Vivian's brows knit together, the Elven Council is filled with rotten old men, damn. Wouldn't Miracle City be at their wits' end? Meng Qingwu continued to say, these attacks on Battle Banner City have caused some losses to our city, but these losses can be ignored as a whole. Their goal is not to attack the city, but rather to make us feel pressured. There are already rumors in the city, saying that Miracle City is going to fight Battle Banner City, making everyone panic. From this point, Battle Banner City's goal has been achieved. Meng Yingying asked, what will they do next? Battle Banner City clearly understands our situation, so they know that Miracle City can't fight. Battle Banner City does not have any plans to attack Miracle City, otherwise they wouldn't have used this method to alert us. Meng Qingwu said this and then paused before saying, they will definitely ask to negotiate with us and give us their conditions. We can't be impulsive at this time. Whatever conditions they give us, we will bargain with them and stall for time for Miracle City. Chu Tian, what do you think? A guard suddenly ran in at this time. Sir City Lord, there is a letter from the forest, it seems to be from Battle Banner City. Give it to me. Chu Tian took out the letter and looked over it before suddenly ripping it in half. The young miss is truly clear. Battle Banner City's City Lord Cao has invited us to meet in Brambleflower Town 400 miles away in 3 days. There must be an ambush. Meng Yingying quickly stood up and said to Chu Tian, these green-skinned ugly monsters are despicable and sinister, they have no bottom line, you can't fall for their tricks. Don't worry, we won't be in danger. We still have to go negotiate. I'll take a look first and see what these fellows are planning. Chu Tian said to Vivian and Nangong Yun, Nangong, come with me. Young Miss, Yingying, Vivian, you will stabilize the situation in the city. Meng Qingwu was a bit worried, Battle Banner City can't compare to Green City in the past. Battle Banner City hasn't weakened in the past 100 years and their overall strength is very strong, I'm afraid you will suffer a loss. The Great Zhou country's situation is very tense, Yoda can't come back for now and Miracle City doesn't have anyone that can fight. Not to mention with just a spirit transformation expert, they won't be able to gain any advantage. Since we can't gain any advantage in a head-on clash, why do we need to bring so many burdens? Chu Tian said this and suddenly said with a smile, young miss can be assured, I have the spatial ability and the city returning scroll, so there won't be any problems even if we can't negotiate. That's true. The young miss nodded. Vivian slapped the table and stood up, with elder sister Qingwu here, I can't help much in the city. I'll go with you to meet them. I want to go too. Meng Yingying volunteered, I want to see what these ugly fellows can do to us. Chu Tian shook his head, don't be anxious, you have another important task. The undead tower in the undead ruins must be built as soon as possible. No matter how much effort it takes, it must be built as soon as possible. Ying will be in charge of this matter. Chu Tian thought for 2 seconds before saying, Vivian, your task is to make a subspace aura extraction device. It's a bit like a space warehouse. I will give you the blueprints and the young miss will provide the resources and manpower, so you have to finish it as soon as possible. Extracting aura from the subspace? Could it be that Chu Tian wanted to? Vivian's eyes lit up. Yes, I will work hard to finish it. Young miss, I'll have to trouble you to deploy 2 Heaven's Punishment airships above Brambleflower Town. 2 Heaven's Punishment airships? That kind of power was more than enough to flatten an entire mountain. To deal with the marauders that tried to attack Oldman's small town, Miracle Commerce had used this kind of terrifying force. Not to mention that a long time had passed and Miracle Commerce's technology was changing with each passing day. Miracle Commerce's 2nd-generation energy and 2nd-generation weapons were becoming more and more mature. The high-altitude bombs on the Heaven's Punishment airships had been improved and replaced, making them even stronger and more overbearing. This was not a joke. Chu Tian had deployed 2 Heaven's Punishment airships above the negotiation area. Was he preparing for war? Chu Tian saw the young miss expression and he revealed a laugh. Isn't this just in case? If the other side's city lord and other high-level characters come, we'll blow them all up. Without a leader in Battle Banner City, I don't believe they can do anything to us. How could the entire high-level team come? Not to mention that even if we blow them all up, have you thought about the Savage Highlands reaction? This is basically giving them a reason to occupy Miracle City. Meng Qinggu couldn't reject Chu Tian's orders. I will deploy the airships. I hope you can remain calm. This is not a joke. If there is a problem, all our efforts will go to waste and it will bring a large crisis to Miracle City. Chu Tian said in a somewhat dissatisfied voice, Young miss, we've worked together for so long, you should know that I am a reliable person. It would be strange if he was reliable. Meng Qinggu rolled her eyes at him. Chu Tian stood up and said, All right, everyone start preparing. This matter had temporarily slowed down the city's construction. Meng Qinggu had placed all the city's resources on the city's defenses, especially Meng Yingying's undead towers. Nangong Yun took the Eye of the Star and went into closed-door cultivation, while Vivian worked overtime on the spatial device. Although they didn't want war to break out, they had to make the necessary preparations. After 3 days, Nangong Yun had absorbed the Eye of the Star. Her cultivation was already high and now she had jumped to the 3rd true spirit layer. The 2 of them headed for Brambleflower Town. Chapter 476. In a gentle valley in the center of the Forest of Chaos, short shrubs flowed down, giving off a soft and gentle feeling. There were various kinds of flowers and there were countless birds, deer, and monkeys moving around. In the center, there was a small town made of stones. This small town was covered in moss and there was a layer of thorny flowers on top of the moss. If one looked at it at first glance, it simply blended in with the surroundings. This was Brambleflower Town. Brambleflower Town was a normal town between Battle Banner City and Miracle City. Just like the countless small towns in the Forest of Chaos, Brambleflower Town was established because of the forest market formed by the surrounding tribes. It was convenient for different tribes and races to trade goods and daily necessities. Whether it was the size or population of the small town, there was nothing special about it in the Forest of Chaos. In the past few days, something big had happened in the small town. The surrounding hillsides were suddenly filled with rock and roll banners. Tens of thousands of wolf cavalry soldiers rushed down the hillsides, like a black torrent pouring into this green world, and the whole town was tightly surrounded. It was the army of Battle Banner City. The people of Brambleflower Town were scared witless. They wanted to run away in a panic, but Battle Banner City did not give them a chance. The butcher's knife of death fell on the heads of these forest locals and the 5,000 people in the town were all killed. These executioners cut off the heads of the townspeople who suffered this calamity and placed wooden sticks in front of the small town's entrance, forming 2 neat rows. It was like a cruel ceremony or a red carpet welcoming guests. The elite troops of Battle Banner City stood neatly in 2 rows, wearing black armor and fluttering banners, giving off a heavy and solemn feeling of oppression. Humph, those cowards still haven't come. An orc with a head full of small braids was sitting in the middle of the small town covered in blood. His upper body was covered in wounds and totems, with 2 giant axes releasing a death aura on both sides of his large seat. There was a young orc that looked like a cheetah standing next to him. The 2 of them looked similar, so they should be father and son. The headless corpses piled up behind the 2 of them like a mountain, just like a backdrop for a photo. 200 half-beastmen warriors stood in rows on the left and right. Their eyes were ice-cold and filled with chilliness. They stood motionless like statues. Father, the weak humans definitely don't have the courage to come. Why don't we tell Sir City Lord and use Battle Banner City's army to take over Miracle City? We have the absolute advantage in strength. It's not that simple, Gray. The old orc shook his head. There are more and more rumors about Miracle City and some of them are very exaggerated. For example, they can use a spatial ability to transport anything from human countries into the forest. We can't confirm whether these things are true or false, but according to the reports from the scouts, Miracle City has indeed changed a lot and they have many incredible technologies in their hands. Elder brother is very interested in this, so compared to occupying Miracle City, controlling them is a better choice. Gray's orc did not ask again. Because an orc walked up and said, "He's here." When Chu Tian and Nangong Yun arrived at Brambleflower Town, both of them frowned slightly. They didn't expect Battle Banner City to make such a big scene. Not only did they slaughter the entire Brambleflower Town, they even stationed at least 20,000 elite soldiers here. This kind of scene was very intimidating. Perhaps no one who came to negotiate would be able to maintain a normal state of mind. The strength of Battle Banner City's elite army was already very shocking. Now that they surrounded this place like an iron bucket, even a sparrow would find it hard to fly out. There's only 2 people. The orcs revealed looks of shock. Battle Banner City sent out 20,000 elite soldiers and Miracle Commerce sent out 2 people. This was a 10,000 to 1 chance. It was truly shocking. Chu Tian was wearing the City Lord's robe, allowing people to see his identity as the City Lord with a single glance. You are Miracle City's City Lord. The old orc gave a few cold laughs. That fierce expression along with the blood covering the ground and the mountain of headless corpses gave people a kind of intimidating feeling. I am Battle Banner City's Vice City Lord Cao's younger brother Kaeldon, and this is my son Gray. Chu Tian sat down like he didn't see anything. Nangong Yun stood behind Chu Tian with her hands behind her back like a javelin. The 2 of them were surrounded by ferocious orcs and there were at least 10 true spirit realm experts. Kaeldon was a 7th true spirit layer spirit transformation expert and his son Gray was clearly a strong orc expert. Under this kind of pressure, the 2 of them did not have any changes in their expressions. Chu Tian said in a somewhat unhappy voice, "This City Lord has come under City Lord Cao's invitation, but City Lord Cao did not come and instead sent an assistant. You orcs don't seem to understand etiquette." Roar. The surrounding orcs all let out beast-like low roars. Kaeldon stopped Gray who was about to jump out and said with a snort, "The Miracle City's City Lord has some courage, no wonder those weak gnomes gave the city to you. The Miracle City's City Lord is a straightforward person and the orcs are also a straightforward race, so there is no need for us to beat around the bush. I'll be straight to the point." Chu Tian changed to a more comfortable position. "I'm all ears. Miracle City's recent performance has been too eye-catching. If we don't stand on the right side, perhaps we'll be destroyed." Kaeldon paused before saying, "Battle Banner City is willing to become Miracle City's friend. As long as our 2 cities work together as an iron alliance, it will be enough to dispel the greed of most powers and we can both increase our strength and influence." When Kaeldon said this, it was like he was a sincere partner. It was like the matter of the Battle Banner tribe attacking Miracle City had never happened at all. Chu Tian said in a non-committal voice, "What are the conditions?" "Battle Banner City will send out 100,000 elite orcs to be stationed in Miracle City. They will guard the city for the City Lord, deterring enemies and maintaining peace. Kael'dan slowly said, "This way, the City Lord will be able to sit on the City Lord's throne without any worries. Of course, in exchange, half of your city's income will be given to Battle Banner City, and Battle Banner City will send a capable person to Miracle City to be the Vice City Lord, helping the City Lord govern the city. We're letting you station troops and giving you tribute, you're even trying to make us a figurehead." Nangongyun couldn't help glaring at him. "Why is your mouth so smelly? It's like fart, did you just eat shit?" Bold. Gray picked up a battle axe. Chu Tian was not angry and just revealed a smile. "City Lord Cao is truly kind, but Miracle City has a strong army, so there's no need for City Lord Cao and you to worry. Not to mention that Miracle City is a city under the Eternal Forest's protection. I think in the entire Forest of Chaos, there's no one that doesn't give the Eternal Forest face." Kael'dan broke out in laughter. "You humans really like to play tricks. Who doesn't know those old fogies in the Eternal Forest? Unless we attack their territory, they won't have any reaction. As for a place like Miracle City that can cause chaos, those old fogies will avoid it, so how could they take the initiative to get involved?" Saying this, Kaladin's voice turned cold. "I'll tell you the truth. There are 20,000 elite troops nearby. Do you think they are stationed here to put on a show? This place is less than 400 miles from Miracle City. 20,000 elite troops can attack in 2 hours. Your Miracle City is weak inside and out, without a city-protecting barrier, a strong army, or enough troops. Can you block a single attack from Battle Banner City's army?" Chu Tian slightly narrowed his eyes. "You're threatening me?" Battle Banner City sincerely wants to be friends with Miracle City, but Miracle City dares to reject the orcs' good intentions, so the orcs don't want to show their cruel side. Nangongyun revealed a smile. "You want to attack Miracle City with 20,000 people? Why don't you give it a try? Bluffing is useless. From the moment you walked in here, your lives were already in the hands of the beast men. Surrendering is your only choice, otherwise we'll cut off your heads and then lead the army to attack Miracle City." Gray said with a cold smile, "According to what we know, you've taken out all your assets to lend to the surrounding tribes. These 20,000 people can't attack Miracle City, but we just need to destroy your businesses outside the city and Miracle City's investments will be lost. There won't be a second wave of attacks and Miracle City will collapse on its own. You green-skinned frog." Nangongyun jumped up like a cat whose foot had been stepped on. "If you attack a single inch of Miracle City's land, we'll blow up all the green frogs in Battle Banner City." Gray was enraged. "Who do you think you are to dare insult me? This stupid human girl has insulted the glorious orc warriors. Whether the City Lord agrees or not, her only outcome is death." Kael'dan said in a cold voice, "Gray, use the warrior's axe to prove the glory of a warrior." Nangongyun's 10 fingers cracked. "You want to fight? All right. It seems like there's nothing to talk about this time." Chu Tian said to Nangongyun, "How long will it take?" Nangongyun looked at Gray and said with a look of disdain, "This kind of trash can be taken care of in 10 seconds. Then 10 seconds it is." Chu Tian took out his cell phone and dialed a few numbers before connecting to the control center. "Heaven's Punishment number 1, Heaven's Punishment number 2, begin the Heaven's Punishment in 10 seconds. I repeat, begin the Heaven's Punishment in 10 seconds. Heaven's Punishment received. Beginning the countdown, 10. The orcs were stunned. What was this fellow doing? 10 seconds, defeating Gray in 10 seconds. Although this Gray was young, he was in the 4th True Spirit layer. Miracle City's human girl was in the trivial 3rd True Spirit layer. This was not just a difference of 1 layer, it was the difference between an Earth Spirit cultivator and a Heaven Spirit cultivator. Kael'dan had an inexplicably strong and ominous premonition. "Gray, do it, immediately take care of her." Chu Tian hung up the phone and placed it in his pocket. Chapter 477. It was as fast as lightning. Gray's figure disappeared and turned into an afterimage as he appeared in front of Nangongyun. An axe as fast as lightning sent Nangongyun flying high into the air. Pang! Gray's spirit energy completely erupted and the ground beneath his feet caved in. A monster source spirit covered in spikes appeared and countless spirit energy spikes wildly stabbed at Nangong Yun in the air. They instantly covered Nangong Yun's body, making her look like a porcupine. Wild spirit energy completely erupted. Gray soared into the sky, instantly exceeding Nangong Yun's height. The huge axe light heavily swung downwards. This attack was not a person swinging the axe, but rather the axe carrying the person. It swept through everything, charging forward. Even if it was a mountain, it would still shatter it. So fast. Chu Tian narrowed his eyes. When Gray attacked, Kaeldon made a gesture and the 10 true spirit experts released their source spirits. When Chu Tian's hand touched the sword hilt on his back, various kinds of weapons covered his body. As long as he made the slightest movement, he would be instantly torn to pieces. City Lord, I don't know what you're doing. Kaeldon sat in his seat without moving, but I hope you won't move, otherwise I can't guarantee the consequences. All right. Chu Tian revealed a smile, looking calm. His heart was counting down, 9, 8, Nangong Yun's body was covered in flames, instantly sending the spirit energy spikes flying. Her hands were covered in flames as she sent a punch at the axe glow. Stupid woman. Gray gave a cold laugh and the axe slightly trembled. A giant beast's roar came from within, which was the angry roar of the weapon spirit. This weapon was a soul-connecting weapon, how could flesh and blood block it? Not to mention humans with weak bodies, even an ogre would be turned into meat paste. The flame fist and axe glow collided. There was a violent explosion in the air. Gray's charge was cut off and Nangong Yun fell to the ground, staggering back a few steps. Her body was still covered in flames, but it seemed like she wasn't injured at all. What happened? This human could forcefully block Gray's battle axe with his flesh and blood? This axe was a famous soul-contracting weapon in Battle Banner City. Gray was in the 4th true spirit layer, which was the early heaven spirit realm. It was not something a late earth spirit realm person could block, not to mention blocking it with his bare hands. Nangong Yun's entire body was bathed in flames, and her red hair danced in the wind. She looked like a furious flame goddess. Is that all you have? I haven't even used my full strength yet. Take it. Gray was unable to restrain his anger. He roared crazily like a wild beast that had lost control. Nangong Yun's disdainful attitude was not only a provocation, but also a kind of insult. The incomparably heavy battle axe in his hand was as delicate and dexterous as a carving knife in the hands of a sculptor. It was as heavy and overbearing as the sledgehammer in the hands of a blacksmith. In an instant, hundreds of axe strikes blossomed like a lotus. Good timing. Nangong Yun stepped on flames and her arms filled the sky with fists. There were no fancy moves or techniques, just extreme speed, extreme strength, and extreme explosiveness, blocking each of Gray's attacks. Although the power of each axe strike contained the power to split a mountain, if it was an ordinary cultivator, they would have already been turned into paste. However, Nangong Yun had forcibly withstood over 100 attacks without suffering a single wound, which completely overturned everyone's understanding. Gray's battle axe was swung faster and Nangong Yun's fists were swung faster and faster. There were no fancy moves, it was pure strength against strength, speed against speed, pure strength against pure spirit energy. If it was a fight between people of the same level, it would be reasonable. Gray's cultivation was much higher than Nangong Yun's and he had a soul-contracting weapon in his hand, but he still could not defeat the other side. This was a bit unreasonable. Beast transformation. Gray combined his source spirit with his body, turning his originally green skin into a purple-black color. His back and arms began to grow large amounts of curved blade-like barbs. This secret technique did not just change his body shape, it also increased his speed and spirit energy by several times, increasing his battle strength. Black Spirit, release your power. The battle axe was summoned by its master and it suddenly released a strong black glow. This axe that was not small became 5 times bigger. What Gray sent out was not just a single axe, but rather a surging mountain and river. It was the radiance of the sun and moon, filled with an overbearing aura that looked down on all living beings. He had clearly used his finishing move. Good. This is more like it. Nangongyun faced the wild axe glow. Not only did she not dodge, she revealed a look of excitement. She clasped her hands together, trying to use them to block this attack. Gray's axe glow exploded. You're seeking death. The blade glow was like an invisible wave. This attack could not be blocked like this. Nangongyun did not have a way to block the invisible blade chi. The wild wave slammed into Nangongyun's body, instantly ripping apart most of Nangongyun's clothes. With this kind of fierce chi attack, even if this girl had the body of a demon beast, she would not be able to survive. Gray was not satisfied with this. The black battle axe swung out again. The surging river-like power turned into tens of thousands of sharp spikes. He wanted to cut this girl to pieces, turning her flesh and blood into powder under this wild storm of attacks. At this moment, Nangongyun loudly shouted, "Starlight immortal body." The light blue starlight covered her body, instantly splitting apart the tens of thousands of attacks. The starlight went from weak to strong in a short period of time, completely nullifying this fierce attack. Gray's expression changed and he immediately slashed out with his axe. Hong! Nangongyun's fierce attack was reflected back and the battle axe shattered. Gray was forcefully sent flying. You want to kill your great aunt with this little bit of skill? Nangongyun stepped into the air and stood 40 to 50 feet in the air. The flames around her burned even more intensely, instantly covering the sky like a piece of red cloth. Under the extremely fierce energy, even the space was burned until it was distorted. The majestic fire phoenix finally revealed itself. Now it's my turn. The orcs were all shocked. Everyone thought that this girl's source spirit was only a fire source spirit. Who would have thought that Nangongyun had not used her full strength, only releasing the power of the fire phoenix at this moment. Her entire body merged with the fire phoenix as she attacked the defeated Gray. Stop! Kaeldon angrily roared as he flew into the air. His two battle axes released a cross-shaped blood-red glow, blocking Nangongyun's attack on Gray. Kaeldon was a spirit transformation cultivator. Although he made a move in a hurry, he was not someone Nangongyun could look down on. The cross-shaped blade glow blocked Nangongyun's path of attack. If Nangongyun wanted to kill Gray, she would inevitably be injured by this attack. If Nangongyun wanted to dodge this attack, she wouldn't be able to release this attack at all. Kaeldon would have enough time to save his son. Nangongyun was a madman, she didn't care that much. Even if she was in great danger, she didn't hesitate for half a second as she released the power of the fire phoenix. Gray's body instantly exploded as the raging flames burned him to ashes. Nangongyun was hit by the cross-shaped blade glow and was instantly sent flying. Kaeldon angrily sent out another axe strike and Nangongyun spat out a large mouthful of blood, but she still wasn't cut to pieces. Time's up. Chu Tian revealed a faint smile and his eyes turned white. The 10 orcs did not even know how Chu Tian made this move before they disappeared in a wave of energy. Kaeldon angrily chopped down Nangongyun's body. Chu Tian grabbed Nangongyun in the air and instantly teleported several hundred meters away. Kaeldon angrily sent out a third attack, instantly creating a several dozen meter long axe glow in the small town. Are you alright? Boss, many thanks. Nangongyun was not lightly injured. Her body was covered in flames and the great Nirvana scripture activated, instantly recovering from her heavy injuries. Only Nangongyun's clothes were torn and it was hard for her to not be exposed. She was held by Chu Tian and her face was a bit red. Stop talking, let's go. Kaeldon was prepared to tear the two of them to pieces. The two of them flashed with light at the same time and instantly disappeared. What's going on? Where are they? Kaladin's son had been killed and he had lost all reason in his rage, so he did not notice the strange change in the environment. At this time, an orc pointed at the sky and shouted in panic, "What is that?" The entire blue sky was covered in black dots. These black dots were falling very quickly and each one was filled with a powerful destructive aura. This is bad. The orcs did not have time to react. The first wave of bombs had already fallen in front of them. A half-blood beast man expert subconsciously slapped it with his palm, but the bomb exploded prematurely. The sudden burst of light and heat accompanied by a powerful energy wave instantly enveloped this half-blood beast man expert. Half of his body was directly carbonized, while the other half was severely burned. He fell several dozen meters away. The orcs were all shocked. They didn't have time to run, they didn't have time to defend, and they didn't even have time to think. Countless bombs rained down with ear-piercing screeches. Every bomb turned into a small mushroom made of light and heat the moment it hit the ground. Thousands or even tens of thousands of bombs were dropped in this area in less than 10 seconds. Countless small mushrooms gathered into a sea of light and fire. Thornflower Town was completely engulfed by the destructive power. In just a few minutes, the entire valley was razed to the ground. The intense and dazzling light could be clearly seen from hundreds of miles away. The terrifying energy fluctuations even startled some of the sleeping beasts in the forest. The earth shook and this vibration went several thousand meters underground, causing chaos in the underground world. The Battle Banner City's Vice City Lord and the 20,000 elites all disappeared. When the energy gradually dissipated, thick smoke and charred ash filled the air. The harmonious, gentle and beautiful basin had disappeared, leaving behind only a large pit full of holes that were still burning with flames. There was no need to say. The power Miracle City had displayed this time would shock the entire forest. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.